We are moments away from kick-off here in the Nations League. The first time that this competition has been held in the women's game, and there is so much at stake. A reminder, England are Team GB's nominated representative in terms of qualification for the Paris Olympics next summer. So if Team GB are to play there, potentially players like Caroline Weir of Scotland, who featured for Team GB at the Olympics in Japan a couple of years ago, then England have to win the group to qualify for the finals. Then they have to try and get through to the finals of the Nations League as well. They might get a chance through the third place playoff, but we'll have to see what happens with France, the hosts, in regard to that, as both sets of players take the knee at the start of this match at the Stadium of Light here in Sunderland. The message against racism still clear. So England get us underway, playing from left to right, and Karen Bardsley, we're sussing out that formation. It looks like a back three, but we'll see how it develops. Scotland in possession, picking up that ball just on their goal line. England have won it back just inside the penalty area. Early delivery in, cleared away at the back by Nicola Docherty for Scotland. But England's runners-up at the World Cup just over a month ago have started brightly. Out to the left-hand side they go. England playing in the white shirts, the navy shorts and the white socks. Scotland in the navy tops, the white shorts and the red socks, as England just settle into this rhythm. And this was a key question, wasn't it, Karen? Would Sarina Wiegman, going forward from the World Cup, develop England as this back three rather than a back four? Of course, you know, still missing some big players in terms of the likes of Keira Walsh, Leah Williamson, the captain as well, Beth Mead, Fran Kirby. They are without players that could make the four a little bit easier, particularly Williamson. Looks as though she is persisting with this three as England come out to the right-hand side. Here is Lauren Hemp, plays it to the edge of the penalty area and picked up by Georgia Stanway, and England send it back once more, and Scotland dropping deep already as Millie Bright, once again taking the armband in the absence of Leah Williamson, sends it out to Alex Greenwood on the left-hand side. Here is Rachel Daly back at left wing back there, not quite the time yet to get out front. In fact, it's Kelly over on that left-hand side for now as the ball is steered out of play now then. So just having a look at exactly where Rachel Daly is playing here. Well, having thought they start as a three, Karen, already now it looks like a four, and now it's a three again. Let's pick the bones out of this as England have the ball on the halfway line. Very fluid formation so far. Come to Karen in a moment because the Lionesses have started relentlessly. Here is Lucy Bronze, pulls it back to Jess Carter, plays it forwards once more. Here is Lauren Hemp just outside the penalty area. Out to the right hand side she goes. Lucy Bronze drifted in. Daly's up there, playing in that central position. Spins out to Kelly on the left hand side. Forward now by Zellum. Lovely interchange of passes. Just breaks down as Zellum tries to pick it up on the edge of the D. And Jess Carter has it once more. Spreads it out to the left hand side, looking for Chloe Kelly once again. Out of play for an England throw. Karen Bardsley, finally I can bring you in.
Oh, what a start, Vicky. I mean, this has just been really front-footed stuff from England so far. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, but it's nice to see, to be honest, a really attacking formation from Sarina Wiegman's side.
So England in possession, out to the left-hand side. As we see, Jess Carter, Millie Bright and Alex Greenwood setting up in the three, but you do have Rachel Daly up top at the moment. Lauren Hemp is in there as well, so Chloe Kelly is taking up this left wing back role early on, with Lucy Bronze over at right wing back, Stanway and Zellum in the centre. Interesting this, as Daly now on the right wing swings it in. So fluid this formation. She had been in the penalty area about 10 seconds ago. As Chloe Kelly picks it up on the left hand side, low delivery, swung in, flicked away by Nicola Docherty. And Scotland matter under the cosh early on.
They haven't got out their own half at any point in time. The pace that England have moved the ball here has been absolutely phenomenal. You just want to ask defenders questions. I think the Scotland heads must be slightly spinning at the moment.
So out for an England corner. Manchester United captain, the set piece specialist Katie Zellum, will take it from this near side. Goalless with 3.5 minutes played. And our referee Maria Sola Caputi of Italy is just making sure that nothing untoward is going on the edge of that Scotland penalty area. Scotland with this corner to defend. Katie Zellum swings it in right-footed, deep into the 6-yard box. Millie Bright was up there. Scotland get first contact, cleared away by Martha Thomas, who's just joined Tottenham from Manchester United. Thomas, who was born in England, qualifies for Scotland through her mum. England pick it up in the centre circle once more. Here is Katie Zennon, plays it in field to Georgia Stanway. And again, the fluidity of this England formation at the moment. Seriously, Lucy Bronze is in the 10. It's quite remarkable. I don't think she'll stay there. We know she likes to drift centrally from that right wing back position, and indeed she does go back out to the right hand side. So Lauren James plays it out to the left hand side. Ball is delivered in by Chloe Kelly, and Rachel Daly will jog out of the penalty area as Scotland looks to put the pressure on. Jess Carter at the back, but first touch of the ball for Mary Earps, England's newly crowned Player of the Year. Sends it out to the left hand side. Scotland will try and pick up possession, but Alex Greenwood, who had such an outstanding World Cup, retains that ball for England and will play it out to the right hand side. Lucy Bronze, though, well anticipated by Kirsty Hansen, the Aston Villa player, and the ball will go out of play for an England throw. So let's have a look at this England formation. Rachel Daly is certainly playing up front. She's supported by Lauren James. Lauren Hemp is now over on this right hand side. Chloe Kelly is over on the left. And so England's in possession on this near side, but there's certainly a lot of fluidity from England in this early stage as Lucy Bronze once more wins the throw right in front of Pedro Martinez Losa. Plays it forwards. Lauren Hemp will pick it up down this right hand side. Rachel Daly advancing into the penalty area. Early ball in from Stanway. Scotland almost get themselves in a bit of a mix, but a couple of deflections and then a good clearance at the back by Rachel Coursey, making her first Scotland appearance since February. Plays it out for a Scotland goal kick. So just your thoughts, Pat, on this England formation. It is pretty fluid early on, and that is a bit of a headache for Scotland.
A lot of the times the international teams, we do enjoy playing a 3 when or a 5 as it is sometimes you defend, and then go to a 4/2 centre backs when they're attacking. But that fluidity you're seeing with all the players there, that's a coach who believes and trusts in the players and the players' ability. And again, that's just more headaches, because there's nothing worse when you're playing against a team you think, who am I supposed to be marking? And that's the problem Scotland have got at the moment.
0-0, 6.5 minutes played, all England so far, as Georgia Stanway comes down the right hand side. Little deflection in the centre of Samantha Kerr, not Sam Kerr of Australia, who's just joining us, but Samantha Mary Kerr of Scotland joined Bayern Munich this summer, so a new teammate of England's Georgia Stanway, Scotland's Player of the Year in 2022 as well. Very talented midfielder, the 24-year-old. England at the moment are bossing the midfield, they're bossing the attack, and they fashion a clear chance and a first chance to test Lee Gibson, formerly the Alexander, the experienced Scotland goalkeeper. The header does come in at the far post. It goes wide of that post. Gibson not called into action on that occasion, but a couple of high fives for Georgia Stanway, who just stolen a little run there, a little yard.
It's one of the things that if you're playing against England, and Scotland have got this precise problem, is that the power of the English players. You look at, likes of Lucy Bronze, Millie Bright, obviously from set pieces, you just think, how do you stop them? Because they've got a height advantage all over the place.
Here come England looking for the ball forwards. Won't reach Lauren Hemp and is all the way through with Lee Gibson. Karen Bardsley.
I'm really enjoying watching England here. I mean, there's a real element of fluidity, as you keep alluding to, Vicky. I mean, I don't see much in terms of the positional play, because there's so much interchange of position, particularly through the midfield. I mean, we saw obviously Millie Bright get forward, and she was in that 10 spot for a while. So it's a really, really exciting front-footed approach from England, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
Here are Scotland in possession, midway through their own half. Play the ball up to the halfway line, and the incredibly talented Caroline Weir. She's the only player in this Scotland side who was part of the Team GB squads for the Olympics a couple of years ago. The ball goes straight out of play. Lucy Bronze takes the throw quickly. It is something that has been noted by England's opponents and Scotland's opponents in this Nations League group, not least by the Netherlands coach Andries Jonker. Says it's very strange that England and Scotland are in the same group. And as the ball goes out of play for an England goal kick, let me just put a scenario to you, Carolyn Power. So Scotland host England at Hampden in the final game of this Nations League group. Let's say that it's between England and the Netherlands to win the group. They've got to win England, remember, and get through to the finals to give Team GB a chance of qualifying. Scotland in possession down this left-hand side. We'll come back to that in a moment, but this is a good run by Hansen, just comes off a good pressure by Lucy Bronze, and it's an England goal kick. Let's say it's 0-0. Let's say Scotland get a penalty in the 97th minute. Let's say it's Caroline Weir who steps up to take it. Let's say that if she scores, Netherlands win the group, England don't, and Caroline Weir doesn't get to play at the Olympics.
It's a real, there are a number of headaches like that. I can remember just recently I was talking to Heather O'Reilly about the kind of the weirdness of, a Scotland stroke England stroke UK. Couldn't get her head around it.
Here come England. Plenty of minutes left to play in that regard as the ball comes through to Rachel Daly, and that is the first save of the match from Lee Gibson. Daly dragging the shots on the angle inside the penalty area, and relatively straightforward for Scotland's number one.
Yeah, Rachel Corsie was defending, obviously, Rachel Daly, two teammates at Aston Villa, but Rach has got one heck of an engine. She's got speed as well, so that might be a bit of a headache. But I imagine Rachel Corsie is used to coming up against that in training every day.
So England's in possession. Let's firm up their lineup for you then. Mary Earps in goal. In possession, it's the back three of Carter, Bright and Greenwood. Out in that left wing back is Chloe Kelly, as England just about retain possession. Right wing back is Lucy Bond. You've got Zellum and Stanway in the centre, with Lauren James drifting behind Lauren Hemp and Rachel Daly up front. England knocked the ball around their own half. Karen, how pleased will Rachel Daly, the WSL Golden Boot winner last season with Aston Villa, but who played most of the World Cup at left back or left wing back, how pleased will she be to be playing up front once more? We'll get Karen's thoughts on that in a moment, but Scotland are bursting down this right hand side, ball into the area. Almost fell for Martha Thomas. England struggling to clear their lines, and the ball back in, had too much on it. Thomas left it, she knew she was offside, and it is behind for an England goal kick. But yes, Karen just going to Rachel Daly, trusted up front, used up front as she was so well by Aston Villa last season, but needs must sometimes for Serena Bigman. She does a very good job at left back, left wing back, but for now she's given them all up top.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I think a lot of players think that versatility isn't necessarily a good thing, but I certainly think it is. And Rachel Daly will do anything for this England squad, whatever it takes, and she obviously shown that at the World Cup. But yeah, to get her back in front of the goal, I mean, she went to university and played up top. She's used to, being in front of goal. She loves scoring goals, and she's certainly got the skills to do it. So I think we'll see a lot of freedom from her tonight, and I'd like to think that we'll see a lot of enjoyment and hopefully a few goals as well.
So England in possession, just outside their own penalty area. Scotland have Gibson in goal. The back four of McLaughlin, Howard, Corsie the captain, and Doherty. Grimshaw and Kerr ahead of them, with Emsley, Weir and Hansen supporting Thomas up top. Here come England down the right-hand side. 12 minutes played here on 5 Live at the Stadium of Light. And it's goalless as England played the ball into the penalty area with James. It's cleared away by Scotland. Georgia Stanway will keep possession, though, for the Lionesses. And Jess Carter plays it to Millie Bright. And beautiful ball from Bright. Oh, that's gorgeous from the England captain out to the left-hand side. Little miscue in the penalty area by Sophie Howard. But neither Hemp nor Daly were close enough to her. And it's all the way through with Scotland's number one, Lee Gibson.
Yeah, Scotland are facing up to that England adaptability by playing their normal way, and it's 4-3-3 for Scotland. But they've just not been able to get enough players on the ball in the midfield there, holding it with confidence, and that's why England, when the players they've got there, can dominate these games. And it's all about maybe trying to get Caroline Weir in those little bits of gaps. I mean, Lauren James is doing exactly the same for England, but getting a little bit more capital.
Here goes Jess Carter down the right-hand side. Lucy Bronze will pick it up for England, and in field she goes to Georgia Stanway. Swings the ball out to the left-hand side, and Chloe Kelly is closed down by Rachel McLaughlin. Kelly goes back to Alex Greenwood, who uses that left foot to slide it in low. Lauren Hemp, left-hand side of the penalty area. 3 navy shirts around her, and Caroline Weir adding a fourth, getting the foot in, and sending the ball out for an England throw.
I mean, it's great to see, obviously, Lauren Hemp taking on 1v1. That's such a strength of hers. But, I'm wondering, Pat, where is this kind of outlet going to come? What is the role of Martha Thomas here in terms of holding up play and kind of letting Scotland get forward? Because surely they're not going to be able to sustain this sort of pressure over the course of the game.
Yeah, I've been thinking that already, don't worry, because you can't hold on for this amount of time. But you're up against the team that could have won the World Cup. There's a superb team who can grow and get stronger all the time. And Scotland know that you're away from home. It's going to be difficult, so you're going to have to fight and chase. The problem is, and the biggest problem Scotland have got there for holding out is, in a number of recent games they played really well at the start but tired at the end, and that's not what Scottish people want to hear, but it is what the English do.
Here is Lucy Bronze down the right hand side as England approach the penalty area. Now Lauren Hemp plays it back in field to Bronze. Oh, beautiful touch. Bronze squares it across to Daly, couldn't get the shot away, and Scotland will clear over on that right hand side with Claire Emsley. Up over the halfway line she goes to Martha Thomas, who's up against Millie Bright, who just eases Thomas off the ball and shepherds the ball out of play. But oh my word, that touch from Lucy Bronze, Karen Bardsley.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. She made it just seem so easy, but it's a shame. I thought she was going to take that touch right into her own path and then have a strike with a left, but she just set it off, and maybe she should have been a bit more selfish there. What do you think, Pat?
And you know what? That's why she can play 10 if she needs to, because she's got touches like that. I mean, honestly, you expect that from the likes of Lauren James, but Lucy Bronze has played in a lot of different positions, hasn't she? She's been tried in various positions. Probably she's in her best position as wing back just now, but you stick her in the middle there, she's got great vision, a brilliant touch.
Outstanding skill from England's number 2. And over the halfway line she goes again once more. Lucy Bronze from these parts as well. Well loved in the northeast. Quite a few players in this England squad with a northeast connection. Sunderland in the past has been such a hotbed of women's talent.
It's very far northeast, isn't it, for her? It's Berwick, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
We're almost claiming her for one of ours.
I was going to say closer to Scotland than it is to here. But she's very much a lioness, Lucy Bronze. Nice try pass as Rachel Daly plays the ball over the top, looking for the run of Lauren Hemp, and she's done well there. Dispossessing Doherty. Hemp into the area, cleared away by Scotland just about. Sam Kerr back there. Alex Greenwood will pick it up and send it out to the left-hand side. Kelly's delivery. Hemp is in there, cleared away once more by Scotland. Stanway, edge of the area, straight into the arms of Gibson. He needed a couple of attempts to pat it down, but pat it down eventually she does. And Scotland in possession inside their own penalty area. Let's head to the Championship. Birmingham against QPR. Charlie Slater.
Goalless here, 2 minutes on the clock, only just underway. Birmingham know they'll go up to 4th this evening with a win, while QPR will see themselves into the calmer waters of mid-table if they come away with 3 points. Still 0-0.
Thanks very much, Charlie. Here at the Stadium of Light, it is still goalless. Almost 17 minutes played between England and Scotland in this inaugural Women's Nations League match between the pair. England in possession just inside their own half. Karen, let's get your thoughts. I mean, you have played for Team GB at London 2012. What would it mean to many of these England players? Some of these Scotland players were England's, as the nominated home nation, to secure that qualification. And just how hard will it be with this new Nations League format?
Oh boy, I mean, where do I start? I could talk about that for hours. I mean, it was such a fantastic experience for me, but the pride of obviously representing GB, especially at a home Olympics, was something that was unbelievable. But it showed something to me more than just the football itself. It was more of a platform for equity and equality, and everything that we did was exactly the same as the men's, the women. We traveled in the same places, stayed in the same hotels, had the same meals. Like, everything was exactly the same, and it kind of like sparked this fire for me in terms of what women's football could be. But more than just that, like, the Olympics is seen globally as huge event for women's sport in particular. It's just another major tournament, so another opportunity to play in a tournament, try and have the opportunity to win a medal. It's, for me, a really important aspect of potential future fixtures, and I know that there could be an opportunity to have that discussion in the future.
England with the throw over on the far side, Pat?
Just from the men's football point, because the Olympics isn't that big a deal, but for the women's game it was the main tournament, and for decades it's been the main tournament, so it's almost getting on a cusp of slightly different now, the Champions League coming on, etc. But it's still fabulous. If you win the Olympics, it's up there with anything else, including the World Cup, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really good point, Pat. Yes, it's an age group tournament in the men's competition in the Olympics. It's huge, it's massive. It certainly is pretty much up there with the World Cup in the women's game. So England in possession. Of course, They have it on the halfway line. It's not always been straightforward. They have managed to find the agreement with the rest of the home nations, with Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland, but they didn't manage to do so at Rio, of course. As we know, as we see right here, and as is so important in British sport, England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland all competing separately in football is just part of the game. It's unthinkable that they don't, other than at the Olympics, and that's always the question. Would it ever change? Would it force FIFA to look at it more carefully? That is the concern. But they have agreement for the women's competition if England can qualify Team GB. Down the left-hand side, coming and ball into the penalty area, just ricochets away from Lucy Bronze, and Scotland hack the ball clear, but they are having to deal with some real pressure at the moment. Can Martha Thomas provide an outlet? The new Tottenham signing, advancing towards the penalty area, has Emsley ahead of her. She's bumped into by Jess Carter, right on the edge of the penalty area. Our referee is happy to let that go, Maria Sole Caputi. We don't have VAR, incidentally, here in the Nations League this evening in Sunderland. We do have goal line technology. The ball goes out of play for a Scotland throw, and we can see, Pat, that Thomas is so key as that outlet.
Well, she is key, but she needs people to come up, and Emsley, she probably sprinted 70 yards there. Well, you're not going to do that every 2 minutes, because she's... Well, chance for Scotland.
Lovely layoff inside the area, breaks to Caroline Weir. Great save by Mary Earps. Oh, that's why she's England's Player of the Year. That's why she won the Golden Glove at the World Cup. That's an outstanding stop from an outstanding player. Scotland's Caroline Weir, as Scotland try and keep the momentum down this right-hand side. Little ricochet, and England will allow the ball to roll out for a throw. But that, Pat, is Scotland's best opportunity.
Yeah, it's the best
game.
opportunity. Maybe the best opportunity in the game. Full stop, and that's what Scotland have to play for just now. And it falls to the player you want it to fall to, Caroline Weir. She does everything right, but I'll give a word to someone who knows far more about the goalkeeping. Position was good, wasn't it?
No, it was a great save from Mary Earps. I mean, she got set nice and early, but I mean, the opportunity was far too easy for England to concede. You know, I thought when Kaz Weir with the ball at her foot, that was going to ripple in the back of the net, but a great save produced from Mary Earps there.
Scotland in possession once more with Nicola Doherty. Out to this left-hand side as Serena Wiegman gestures on the edge of her technical area. Promise for Scotland in the last couple of minutes as we approach the midway point of this first half. However, the offside flag has gone up on the far side, and that momentum just breaks down. Serena Wiegman, incidentally, who it was confirmed this week would lead Team GB were they to qualify for Paris next year. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, just a moment ago there, I mean, that move was quite a bit before I thought, right, Scotland got a chance there. The reason being, that's the first time that Spanish stylist passing that was talking about Scotland have tried to play recently. That's the first time we've actually seen it in this game. So when they're up there, and they've got 4 attack-minded players when they get them up there, they are dangerous on the break.
Here are England in possession. Millie Bright sends it out to the left-hand side, and Alex Greenwood's England and Scotland, who have so much history in this fixture. In fact, the first recorded international women's football match, an unofficial one, was between these two sides in Britain in 1881. That is Britain's first women's international, and they contested the first official women's international in Britain as well. England against Scotland in 1972, after the FA lifted their ban that had lasted for near 50 years in women's football. How far both of these sides have come since then. England's European champions, reaching their first Women's World Cup this summer. Scotland, who qualified for their first 2 major tournaments in recent years, the Euros in 2017, the World Cup in 2019. That is the objective under Pedro Martinez Losa. Return to the big stage at major tournaments. England's in possession on the halfway line. The ball played forward, looking for Lauren James, who turns away from her marker, the Chelsea attacker, and out to the left-hand side she goes with Chloe Kelly. Pulls it back to Katie Zellem. Now in field to Georgia Stanway. Midway through the Scotland half. 0-0, 23 minutes played here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Here is Lucy Bronze. Pulls it back to Lauren Hemp. 25 yards out, right-hand side, and Hemp will go back to Millie Bright, and this is what is so tricky for Scotland. They have to keep their concentration because England are absolutely dominating possession. So they play it forward to the edge of the area. Here goes Lauren James, plays the ball across, little deflection. It will be an England corner.
And that's a massive block from the Scottish defence, but again, just the threat, the persistent threat that England have in terms of maintaining possession, patiently switching the play, and the discipline that you alluded to, Vicky, about that Scottish block that's going to have to get across and really maintain that concentration.
So England prepared to take the corner. Katie Zellem over on that far side. The Manchester United captain, Lucy Bronze, is making an early run. She's tracked by Nicola Doherty of Rangers, currently leading the way in the Scottish Premier League. Looks like being a real title race between Glasgow City and Celtic and Rangers. It's very exciting last season. Delivery's in. Oh, brilliant header. Rachel Daly gets there. And England have the lead against Scotland. The power beats Lee Gibson in the Scotland goal. And Rachel Daly gets England up and underway in the Nations League. It's England 1, Scotland 0.
I mentioned that right at the start of the game. Scotland got a problem in the air, aerially. But it didn't have to be clever there. She just nipped off the defender, didn't she?
No, I mean, it was a fantastic delivery from Katie Zellem as well, but no, it was a pretty straightforward run.
Wait a minute, the referee seems to have the hand up here. What's going on here?
Let's see what happens here. So, the hand is up. We don't have VAR. Let's see, the England players are coming over to have a conversation. And Rachel Daly is coming over to the referee and saying, well, what's going on here? Well,
it wasn't obvious, was it?
No, it wasn't at all. We're just seeing a replay here of the incident. Katie Zellem's delivery, Rachel Daly's header.
Goalkeeper.
Goal line.
Was there an obstruction
goalkeeper,
in front of the goalkeeper as Rachel Daly heads the ball?
I thought you'd have spotted that, Karen.
Well, from up here, I can barely see anything, to be honest. But it's like one of those that you shout for in small-sided, where you're like, oh, you're offside, you know.
No, definitely, she's right in front of the goalkeeper, but whether she actually impeded her, to be honest, I'm surprised without VAR that she pulled that out.
Yeah, interesting, wasn't it? The goal has been ruled out. That's what the boos are for. So it is still 0-0 at the Stadium of Light. But as Daly sent the header in, there was an England player in front of Lee Gibson.
You're allowed to go in front of the goalkeeper.
Am I being biased here or not? But I mean, I don't know.
Well, as Daly heads it, the question will be, is she then in an offside position?
Exactly.
And without the benefits of replays and VAR, as you say, interesting, Pat, that the referee clearly felt that was a decision that should go against England. And the goal has been ruled out. And Rachel Daly, I was going to say, you could say, it vindicates her being up front, but I mean, that's a set-piece routine, but it does show how lethal she is in the air. And as England win a corner on this near side, that is why she is so dangerous up front. Yes, of course, from set pieces, but when you get those balls over the top, she is just so powerful in the air.
Well, she's brave, but she's got that mentality that she's going to be first to the ball, doesn't she, Vicky? I mean, she'll do anything to get that ball in the back of the net. She's not afraid, and with deliveries like what Zellem's whipping in, I'm not surprised she might be a threat from here.
So, England with one goal ruled out from a corner. Katie Zellem providing the delivery once more. Daly was in there again. This time Scotland do manage to hoof the ball out of the penalty area. And England will pick it up on the right-hand side. 27 minutes played, 0-0. Rachel Daly's header ruled out for England as they have it over on that left-hand side. Here is Jess Carter. Squares it to Alex Greenwood as Millie Bright drops back into that England back three. And here is Katie Zellem. Plays it out to the right-hand side. Kirsty Hanson trying to close down her former Manchester United teammate, but Zellem picks the pass out to the left-hand side, and England will come forward again with Chloe Kelly. Here is Georgia Stanway, getting set for another season with the German champions Bayern Munich. Alex Greenwood comes in but loses possession, and this is where Scotland will try and capitalise, and they stream forward down this left-hand side with Hanson. Thomas is in the centre, Hanson into the penalty area. Almost missed. So close, Martha Thomas sliding in, inches away from connecting. It was a brilliant ball from Kirsty Hanson, and Thomas inches away from sliding that into the net. Had she made contact there, Pat, that would have been 1-0 Scotland.
Well, she's done everything right. She's picked up the ball. She's made a lot of ground there. The ball she's played in, she has zipped it. She has pinged it across between the goalkeeper. I don't think the keeper can come for that one. It's low. It's zipping along the ground. And it is, you're only inches away from Martha Thomas coming in. But see, from that position, do you really always want to zip it? Do you want to give it a little bit of a curl?
I felt like there was a bit of shape on it, and
was there something good?
It was just teasing Mary Earps to come out, and I'll tell you what, I was holding my breath. I thought that was definitely going in from Martha Thomas, but the transition there from Scotland, hand it over to you, Vicky.
Here coming in down this left-hand side of the game, just starting to open up. But here is Chloe Kelly, the heroine in the Euros final last summer. Ball played forward is deflected, comes out to Georgia Stanway, urged to shoot. Lucy Bronze is there. It's well cleared away by Scotland up towards halfway. Jess Carter bravely stooping for a header, gets there ahead of the boot of Martha Thomas. And England will play it out to the left-hand side. Well, England have dominated possession, but Scotland have shown that they are a threat on the counter. Very good save by Earps from Weir, and there Martha Thomas inches, studs away, a stud's width from connecting with that ball from Kirsty Hampson, and it would have been wonders Scotland if she had, but England's ball into the area. Daly's in there, cleared away by Scotland once more. Hampson won't keep hold of it. Carter picks it up to the right hand side, she goes with Lucy Bronze, pulls it back to Jess Carter once more as England just slow the play down, approaching the half-hour mark in possession as Pedro Martinez Losa stands on the edge of his technical area, signing that new deal until 2027 today. Really building something with this Scotland side, unbeaten in their last 6, and that includes a very impressive victory over Australia, the World Cup semi-finalists back in April. And here comes Scotland again, and Martha Thomas is playing on that England back line. She tries to slide it through to Chrissy Grimshaw, the AC Milan midfielder who made an advanced run, but England pick up possession and send it all the way back to Mary Earps. Big final day of the regular season in Rugby League. Let's head to Matt Newsom for the latest.
Yeah, at the moment it's advantage Catalan Dragons. Either they, Wigan or St Helens are in line to win the League Leaders Shield tonight. Wigan are still pointless, scoreless in their game against Lee. They were the side with the advantage because of points difference. Catalan just behind them lead Salford by 6 points to 0, a Matt Whitley try, and St Helens are 2 points to 0 up against Hull. So at the moment it's Catalan Dragons, then Saints, then Wigan, but that could all change.
Thanks very much, Matt. There is coverage of that's all over on 5 Sports Extra if you want to keep up to date with that, and you can listen to commentaries as well from those key games on the BBC Sports website as Mary Earps spreads the ball out to the left hand side and Alex Greenwood won't keep it in. Chloe Kelly will pick it up and leave it for the Scotland throw, and we have had confirmation it was Chloe Kelly who was interfering with play in an offside position from that corner as Rachel Daly headed the ball forward, so that is why the England goal was ruled out. That is why we're still 0-0 in the Women's Nations League. Out to the right hand side, Scotland go. They are growing in confidence as the ball is driven into the penalty area, and that is not a confident clearance from the England captain Millie Bride. It's behind, skewed behind for a Scotland corner, and
it's a bit too easy for Claire Emsley. No one really kind of goes out to press, and I've seen a shift in momentum obviously, but that's come from a lot of England turnovers and playing right into the hands of Scotland's transition, aren't they, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be under pressure if you're Scotland coming down here, but you have to lift and got a bit lucky a couple of times. However, now that they're getting on break, Scotland look very dangerous indeed.
And they have a corner which will be taken by Caroline Weir from this right hand side. England just about get enough on it to spin it out to the left hand side of the penalty area where Martha Thomas, lovely turn, whips the ball back in, and Mary Earps is right behind it. Oh, it's one of those from our angle up here high in the stands. I don't know if you thought the same, Pat. I thought that was arrowing towards the right hand side of the goal, but Earps read the flight of the ball well.
I was aware that Earps was in goal. You don't get it. And the other thing to say, what about the reception she got when she caught that?
Yeah, no, it seemed like pretty routine at the end, but it didn't seem like it from the fans. They certainly loved that, didn't they?
Yeah, the fans who have just voted her England's Player of the Year for the 2022-23 season, and well deserved. Here coming, and Rachel Daly, who's had a goal chalked off already, goes for goal from distance on. Lee Gibson left that, flies a few yards past the post. Karen Bardsley, confident all the way?
Oh, I'm not so sure. I mean, it seems like she knows exactly where her posts are, but I'll tell you what, there was some movement on that ball. Maybe have deserved a bit more respect because it was moving.
So goal kick to Scotland, and as we approach 12 minutes to go until half time, Pat, I'll bring you in on this one. Do you feel Scotland have settled in this match? Are they taking confidence from those times that they've been able to get behind England's back line?
100% they have, and there was a couple of those breaks there, and every player gets a wee bit more belief when you think, oh, actually we could maybe do this.
But here come England. Chloe Kelly driving from 20 yards. Ball is blocked and spins out to the left-hand side, and Lauren Hemp, good play over on that far side by Scotland, and in the end they win the free kick as well. Lauren Hemp tussling with Rachel McLaughlin of Rangers.
It's a good battle, isn't it, over there?
Goes away to Scotland.
No, it's a really good battle between them two, you know, and I mean a huge amount of space that Chloe Kelly particularly good, but Hemp's gone there a couple of times as well, but a huge amount of time over there, so time and again Rachel McLaughlin's having to go over, knowing that she's second favourite because the defender's got a run on her. She's not giving up, and that was a very good tackle on that occasion.
So 11 minutes to go until the break, and it is still goalless here in Sunderland at the Stadium of Light between England and Scotland in the Women's Nations League on 5 Live. Gibson, the Scotland goalkeeper, all in bright yellow, take this free kick for Scotland. Over the halfway line it goes, but Sam Kerr can't latch onto it. It does feel so strange saying Sam Kerr when it's not Australia, but it's got a big future, this one. Samantha Mary Kerr with Scotland. Scotland it is having to defend at the moment, and they've done that well. Sophie Howard of Leicester stepping up and winning that ball, and Scotland have it outside their own penalty area.
Do you know, to add slight insult to injury with Sam Kerr, I went on the website today, you go straight to, and it was Sam Kerr for Scotland. You click on it and it doesn't go to that Sam Kerr.
To be fair, as far as famous names go in the women's game, you're kind of up against the toughest one there, as the ball is into the Scotland penalty area, headed away by Sophie Howard, and England pick up possession just inside the Scotland half once more.
Pat, I don't know about you, but I've noticed a lot that England are really trying to play centrally and consistently find that 9 position. Not necessarily Rachel Daly, but they're bypassing a lot of space that's kind of on the flanks.
Yeah. Well, early on they were playing it out wide left all the time. Less so now.
Here comes Scotland down the left-hand side, and all of a sudden the space opens up for Kirsty Hansen. Into the penalty area she goes. Hansen, couple of step overs up against Lucy Bronze. Experience against experience here as Bronze just gets a foot in, doesn't manage to take the ball, but doesn't take Hansen either, and Hansen retreats out of the penalty area. Nicola Doherty just about keeps possession under pressure from Rachel Daly. Doherty's ball into the area. Thomas goes down just inside the box for Scotland. Referee is happy to let that continue as England bring the ball away. Thomas still down, the Tottenham striker inside the England penalty area. And England play it back to Lucy Bronze, who is pointing at Martha Thomas, and the referee has stopped play because Thomas is holding the top of her head. Let's head to the Championship while play is paused here. Birmingham against QPR. Charlie Slater.
Still 0-0, but only 0-0 because of the best goal line clearance, a bicycle kick off of his own goal line from Sam Field. Steve Cook scorpion kicked it into his own net nearly, but Sam Field to the rescue. Some acrobatics here. Still 0-0.
Thanks very much, Charlie. So Martha Thomas is sitting up receiving some treatment on the edge of the penalty area. A reminder, no VAR, so no second chance for our referee to have a look at that collision that happened just inside the England box, and both sets of players are coming over to receive some instructions and various refreshments.
Have you actually seen that? I'm trying to get a replay of this to see if I can see it. It's just coming in now, actually.
We are just about to have one.
Yeah, actually I have seen it here, and to be honest, I thought there might have been something in it, but that was me probably being a bit Scottish.
I think you're allowed to be a bit Scottish, Pat Nevin. That's why we love you.
Now that I've seen it,
no, there's nothing in that for me.
Millie's been strong.
I mean, Millie's doing the right thing by going into, having a physical challenge, but, it looks probably worse on the slow motion replay, doesn't it? Because there's a bit of how would you call it, a recoil maybe from Martha Thomas.
It's one of those ones where, if there was VAR, they would have a serious look at it. And she's not acting. Martha's not acting down there, is she? She's.
No, Millie's a unit, though.
Yeah. You can say that, I can't.
That's true.
Well, she is back up to her feet, Martha Thomas, which is good news for Scotland. She's looked dangerous, breaking behind that England back line.
There's a real confidence about that forward line, though, isn't there now? You look at it, there's a real difference. I mean, Kirsty Hansen gets the ball every time now, and at the start I was thinking, are you worried about playing against Lucy Bronze? Well, she has to beat Lucy Bronze, and then she's got Jess Carter waiting for her there. It's kind of hard, but she's doing quite well with it.
It's a big ask down that side for sure, but you can see it's part of their game plan, isn't it, for Scotland? We saw it when they played against Finland more recently, and then Northern Ireland as well. First thoughts forward in that transition, they'll look to get it up as quickly as possible and wait for that support.
Here come England, looking for that pace and trickery of Lauren James down the left-hand side. She is stopped by a plethora of navy shirts, so goes to Zelim, and Bronze is in there. Oh, that's brilliant. Flag stays down. The header from Lucy Bronze, beautifully picked out inside the penalty area, and England have the breakthrough against Scotland. Their Nations League campaign is off and underway in the northeast at the Stadium of Light. It's England 1, it's Scotland 0, and what about that run from Lucy Bronze?
What a header, what a run. At first I thought she had timed it just wrong and she was going to be offside, but no, she bent the run. What a fantastic delivery and a great detailed glancing header just past the outstretched left arm of Gibson in the Scottish goal.
That is the joy of playing with wing backs, isn't it? Because you will get overloads, you can't always get to them quick enough, and if you get someone like Lucy Bronze, who is a power runner, who's a power player, who can see along the line, so she shouldn't run offside. It must have been tight, by the way. However, the finish, don't take anything away from the cross. The cross was genius.
Delicious.
But the finish was brilliant.
Berwick, born and bred, Lucy Bronze. She's a daughter of the northeast. She is loved here, and she's given the Lionesses fans something to shout about as Scotland go for goal from distance, but the whistle's already gone for a free kick. Foul on Georgia Stanway of England inside the centre circle. And England do have that breakthrough before half-time, and for all the momentum that Scotland had managed to wrest away from England in terms of their prowess on the counter-attack, that feels like a very important time, Karen Bardsley, for England to get that goal.
Yeah, it certainly did. I mean, listen, there were loads of opportunities. Scotland started to claw their way back into the game, but I mean, this kind of reflects the momentum of the game, in my opinion, especially the way that the game started. But yeah, what a fantastic header from Lucy Bronze, and it's exactly what the crowd wanted. The response was absolutely immense here. What noise.
Right, so I managed to have a little look at the replay, and it's even closer than you think to offside.
It was really close, wasn't it?
It's either Lucy Bronze's, the top of her shoulder that would be offside, or the heel of the last defender in the centre. And without drawing the lines, it's impossible to tell with the naked eye. So what's happened is the officials have made the right decision. If in doubt and unsure, you have to go with the one that you believe, and they believed in that. But considering they could have had a goal earlier as well, I think it's deserved for England.
Yep, no VAR, a reminder here in the Women's Nations League. So no chance, as Pat says, to draw the lines. Sure, you can all do that at home. We'll try and do them as best we can as you listen to us as we see replays. But as Pat says, that one was so tight, and he really needed the benefit of the technology, and the officials don't have that. So the goal stands. Lucy Bronze scoring it for England, the most experienced player in this current squad, as the ball goes out of play for a throw to England midway through their own half, leading Scotland by a goal to nil. Scotland, who have only beaten England twice in their history. This is their 27th meeting with England. Wins back in 1977, March 2011. As Mary Earps has the ball under a bit of pressure inside her own 6-yard box, but Scotland retreat as England play the ball out of the penalty area very calmly with Jess Carter. And interesting, again, of course, Leah Williamson is still out, Karen, but Jess Carter had a very impressive World Cup. I mean, even when Williamson returns, you wonder how Serena Wiegmann will just tweak that back line. Of course, Williamson, you would expect, would come back in. Millie Bright will play as well. Would Alex Greenwood go out to left back? Could you perhaps move things around there as England get moving? Lauren Hemp out to the right-hand side. Lucy Bronze have come short. Hemp goes long, and it's behind for a Scotland goal kick.
Oh, that was so disappointing that didn't quite work out. But, so well received from Lauren Hemp, to backpedal into the pocket. It was a bit of a side diamond, if you will, and Scotland were overloaded. But again, to your point around Jess Carter progressing the ball forward, she's so confident on the ball. She was absolutely outstanding over the course of the World Cup as well, like really calm on the ball, physical presence, able to kind of get across and body any sort of quicker threat perhaps, but the calmness and the execution of the pass was very impressive from her over the course of the tournament.
I think the point you make about Jess, and subtly make the point, I think she's a better right centre back of a three than she has a full back, because against real pace, we remember back in the Champions League final,
Indeed,
really found out badly there. So I think this system suits her fabulously well.
England win the throw on this near side, leading by a 1-0 here on 5 Live. 2 minutes plus added time to play in this first half. Let's head back to the drama of the Rugby League. Matt Newsom.
I'd love to say that there's some drama. It's actually coming sort of panning out a little bit more routine than we might have expected. Wigan are 10 points to nil up against Lee, so as it stands, they're going to retain top spot and the league leaders shield. Catalan are 6 points to nil up still against Salford, so they will remain second. And poor old Saints, who have clawed their way right back into the mix, well, they're 8 points to nil up at home to Hull, but at the moment they'll stay third.
Thanks, Matt. Plenty of time. We'll keep you right across that all evening on 5 Sports Extra and up to date here on 5 Live, as well as Mary Earps has it at the back for England, who lead by a 0 in this Women's Nations League fixture. Packed weekend of sport for you on 5 Live as England play that ball out of play. Scotland throw on the halfway line. Premier League coverage and commentaries get underway at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Manchester City against Nottingham Forest. Then we switch to the rugby. England against Chile at the World Cup. Then back to the Premier League. Brentford against Everton. And then back to the rugby. South Africa against Ireland. That's all for you on Saturday. Scotland have the ball just outside their own penalty area. Sunday we've got the Japanese Grand Prix. We've got Arsenal against Tottenham, the North London derby. Sheffield United against Newcastle, and Wales against Australia in the rugby. England's ball into the area. Oh, fabulous header. England double their advantage right on the stroke of half-time, and all the congratulations go to Rachel Daly for that delivery. She gives a big hug to Lauren Hemp, who comes over to celebrate heading that ball home. And England, on the stroke of half-time, leads Scotland by 2-0.
What a delightful cross from Rachel Daly. I mean, a fantastic delivery, but you have to feel for Doherty, who took a loose touch and Rachel Daly stripped the ball from her and just punished her. And what a fantastic run, bending in on the opposite side from Lauren Hemp, getting across and putting a head on that ball. What a bullet into the back of the goal there. Nothing Gibson could do about that.
So I was going to say, after the first goal, you won't see a better header than that for a long time. Wrong. Second one was
absolutely... Give it a few minutes, Pat.
Exactly. What a header. The power of it. Look, Scotland relaxed there. They played the wrong ball out from the centre-back position. Should have played it in the midfield. But a dangerous one. And you're right, Doherty wasn't. She couldn't get her feet quite right for it. And England, when they broke from there, they were lethal from there. But I'm going to be brave and say you won't see a better header than that for a long time, but I'm not confident about the phrase.
Well, we could have had a hat-trick of headers for England in this first half, and Rachel Daly's initial effort that initially broke the deadlock not been ruled out for an offside against Chloe Kelly. But they have scored 2 peaches, Lucy Bronze and Lauren Hemp, and on both the deliveries have been outstanding, and on both the finishes have been emphatic and powerful, and giving Lee Gibson in the Scotland goal no chance. England 2, Scotland 0, as we are into added time at the ends of this first half here on 5 Live. England give the ball away to Caroline Weir, edge of the penalty area. That's never a good idea. She's held up though by Millie Bright, so goes out to the right hand side. Low ball driven across, and Hansen's in there. Oh, it's off the post and in. Scotland have a goal back, and there is hope for Pedro Martinez Losa's side. Well, they've threatened in that England penalty area when they've got the chances. They may have been few and far between at times, but Scotland, right on the stroke of half-time, make that one count. Kirsty Hansen in off the post, forcing the ball home. And as the half-time whistle goes, it is England 2, Scotland 1. And Jules, we still have a game on our hands.
We certainly do, and England should have done so much better in defending the movement that led to that goal by Scotland right on the stroke of half-time here at the Stadium of Light. We'll discuss that more. England leads Scotland by 2-1, but I was going to ask you, Karen Barsley, Lucy Bronze, 12 years since leaving the Stadium of Light. There is absolutely no hangover from her as far as she's concerned from the World Cup, because we all saw her disappointment so vividly after that full-time whistle in against Spain in Sydney.
Yeah, I think she would have been the first one to say that she probably wasn't happy with her performance in that final. And I think, there was so much belief in this squad, particularly from, the more senior players as well, like on the cusp of something that they've never done before. But yeah, she's a top pro. She's put that behind her, and so far the performance that I've seen tonight, some sloppy elements here and there, but on the whole, really dominant from Lucy Bronze and numerous other members of the Lionesses. But just little things like that.
Defensively.
We're transitioning not very well. There's lots of spaces emerging, sloppy play at times, and then at the edge of the area, a turnover, and they get punished for it.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest of goals, Pat Nevin, but it counts, and Scotland will take that going into the dressing room, won't they?
Well, it was intriguing, just watching the players walk off the pitch there. And what was mentioned about Rachel Corsie played this ball into Nicola Docherty, and they were furious with each other. It was the wrong ball. I'm with Docherty in that one. And England scored their second goal, and you thought it was game over. But then England do the same thing back. They make a terrible play out of the back line there, and I'm not telling them to go and launch it long, but you need to have a little bit more care. And I have to say, I think they probably think, well, that's it, we've done the job now, that's it, finished, Scotland may well fall apart now. Can't turn off against decent players. And all the way through this game, although England have had the vast majority of the possession and more of the ball in the dangerous areas, when Scotland have got into the dangerous areas, they've looked as if they can be lethal. So, 2-1. I actually think that's a pretty fair reflection of the first half.
Yeah, we have seen Scotland's threat in those areas. Mary Earps looked absolutely flummoxed by that goal that Scotland scored. But Scotland have a lifeline here in this UEFA Women's Nations League match here at the Stadium of Light. England leading Scotland by 2-1. Let's check in at St Andrews. Birmingham against Queen's Park Rangers in the Championship. Charlie Slater.
10 to go until half-time. 0-0, but good game this. Both sides have had their chances. Sinclair Armstrong headed over from 5 yards for QPR. And then at the other end, we had that brilliant goal line clearance from Sam Field, who prevented an own goal I told you about earlier. And Birmingham's Jay Stansfield, he's on loan from Fulham, is the best player on the pitch. All of that said, it's goalless.
Thanks, Charlie. It's 8:37. We're going to talk about the Rugby World Cup, England's match against Chile, after we've heard from the latest news on 5 Live with Richard Foster.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Ukraine has used Western missiles to attack the headquarters of Russia's Black Sea Fleet in Crimea. Russian officials say a serviceman is missing. President Zelensky has been speaking to ministers in Canada.
People will be the winners, not the Kremlin. Freedom will be the winner. Justice will be the winner. You can know this for sure about us, because you know for sure about yourself that you would never submit to evil.
Rishi Sunak is thinking about a major shake-up of the A-level system in England and a new British-style baccalaureate. Under the plans, pupils would study a wider range of subjects after 16, but take some form of maths until they were 18. A mum's criticised an insurance company for not flying her 2-year-old son home after he became seriously ill on holiday. Theo Jones from Bridgend County is in hospital in Portugal with a virus that's attacked his brain. His mum Sarah says AXA would only consider an emergency repatriation if he got worse. AXA says it wants to ensure that the family can return at the appropriate time. Superdrug's going to stop selling single-use vapes in the UK and Ireland by the end of the year. The company says their environmental impact is alarming. And earlier in the week, we brought you that story about the F-35 fighter jet that crashed in South Carolina, where you can now hear the call the pilot made to the emergency services, along with the man whose garden he landed in.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
We got a pilot in the house, and I guess he landed in my backyard, and we were trying to see if we could get a ambulance to the house, please.
We have a military jet crash. I'm the pilot. We need to get rescue rolling. I'm not sure where the airplane is. It would have crash landed somewhere. I ejected.
Debris from the plane was found on Monday, a day after it went missing.
Celebrity race across the world.
Here we go.
4 famous faces and their loved ones.
In terms of progress, we've made absolutely none.
Are racing from Africa to the Arctic.
Harry, go on.
Okay. With no star treatment.
I'm worried that I'm going to smell like this for the rest of eternity.
And no phones or flights.
This is going to be winging it as we go.
Harry Judd, Billy Munger, Mel Blatt and Alex Beresford are stepping up to the challenge.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
No.
Celebrity race across the world.
I want to be there.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
5 Live Sport
with Juliet Farrington.
So it's England 2, Scotland 1 in this sold-out match here at the Stadium of Light in Sunderland in this UEFA Women's Nations League. Second half commentary to come with Vicky Sparks and Corinne Bardsley. In the Rugby World Cup, Argentina kept their quarter-final hopes alive with a hard-earned 19-10 win over Samoa. That's in Pool D. Also in that group, of course, England. They take on Chile tomorrow. We've got live commentary on the first half on 5 Live from 4:45. Danny Kerr, he's been speaking to Sarah Orchard about getting his first start of the tournament and the return of an excited Owen Farrell.
No, I can't wait. One thing is we're not taking the opposition, we're not underestimating them at all. One thing we've seen in the tier 2 teams in this competition is they're pushing and they're throwing everything at these games, and we know we're going to have to play well tomorrow to do what we want to do, to impose ourselves on the game. But I can't wait to get out there and have a run around.
Owen said he was excited 13 times in his press conference yesterday to get back out playing. How's he been this week?
Yeah, he came back from that and also told me he said he had to apologise for saying I'm excited so many times. No, he's excited.
Yeah, he is.
He's itching to get out there. He can't wait. I think it's been really tough for him to be there at training and still be that lead. I don't know how he does it, but doesn't get to go out at the weekend and do the fun bit. So testament to him as a player, but more importantly as a person. I think he's putting the team first. He's been doing that for the last few weeks, and I know he can't wait to get back out there and lead us.
What do you think is the potential to happen if you did have Ford, Farrell and Marcus on the pitch at the same time?
I think it'd be fun. You've got 3 of the best ball players in the world out there in one back line. We'll see what happens on Saturday. I hope I'm still on there if it does happen, but whoever slots in where, I think that's the great thing about this England back line. Everybody's interchangeable, and that's kind of a few things we've been working on this week about not really set positions.
At the end of the first day of the Solheim Cup, Team Europe fought back superbly to trail 5-3 after the United States won all 4 of the morning matches. Catherine Downs and European Tour winner Lydia Hall were there for us.
So at the end of the first day's play at the Solheim Cup here in southern Spain, the Costa del Sol, Team Europe trailed Team USA by 3 points to 5, and it could have been a whole lot worse. Lydia Hall, LET winner, alongside us for commentary on 5 Sports Extra, the BBC Sport website and app as well. And Lydia, wow, this morning we thought all was lost in the Solheim Cup for Team Europe. They were absolutely swept, brushed aside by the US and came out 4-0 down. It was a bit of a shock, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We were all thinking, OK, maybe we need to have Sunday afternoon at the beach. But no, thankfully, the girls obviously had something really good for lunch. They changed some outfits, and there was some brilliant individual efforts from Emily Pedson with that fantastic hole-in-one at the 12th, and then finished off with Leona Maguire in style, chipping in on the 18th hole to win that point. And yeah, just some brilliance, individual brilliance. But I think, the foursomes, we need to look at that for tomorrow morning. Maybe mix a few matches up and mix a few different groupings together. Yeah, hit the ground running tomorrow with that excellent performance from this afternoon.
What do you think the difference was? Do you think it was about selection, about pairings? Suzanne Pettersson in the morning choosing the 2 rookies, the 2 Swedish rookies, Maja Stark and Lynn Grant, to lead the team out. And they just looked overawed by the occasion. In the afternoon, she chose to split them up, put them with more experienced players, take the pressure off them. Selections like that, decisions like that, does that tell you that perhaps Suzanne Pettersson does have a plan? Because everyone was questioning her after the morning session.
Obviously, they were so confident, Lynn Grant and Maja Stark. They've had great records as amateurs playing in the Swedish national team together. So they were confident. I mean, as Suzanne, as the captain, if you've got these 2 young girls who've had incredible seasons for the last 2 years, saying, no, we want to play together, we want to lead this team out, it's pretty hard to say, actually, no, you're rookies, you're not going to be able to manage this. But she let them take that on, and unfortunately it didn't work. I still think they might play together in the foursomes tomorrow morning, but they did come out in the afternoon with a little bit more experience in Carlotta Saganda. I hope she starts in the morning. We didn't see huge amounts of coverage of Carlotta, but every time we did see her, she hit fantastic shots into the greens, hold some really important putts at really important times. So I hope to see her in the morning. I think she's vital for that Solheim, the European team. She brings a different kind of energy and a confidence in the team.
The momentum, you would say, is now with Team Europe after being absolutely swept in the morning session. They trail 5 points to 3. We're back at 7 a.m. on 5 Live Breakfast tomorrow with updates of the foursomes action, and then we'll have full commentary of the four balls for you as well from 2 p.m. on the BBC Sport website.
Elsewhere today, Julian Nagelsmann has been appointed the Germany manager. Nagelsmann has been out of work since he was sacked by Bayern Munich. That was back in March after less than 2 years in charge. Max Verstappen dominated practice ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc finished second with Lando Norris third. Lewis Hamilton said he had a bad day. The 7-time champion was down in 14th. We're minutes away from the second half of this UEFA Women's Nations League match between England and Scotland. England leading Scotland by 2-1, which means we've got time to speak to Steve Bunce ahead of a big weekend of boxing coming up. Buncey, what have you got for us? We've got Joe Joyce fighting his rematch, haven't we, with Zhilei Zhang at Wembley tomorrow, and everyone's saying it could be make or break fight for Joyce.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking this might be one of the biggest make or break fights ever. And before you say, oh, Buncey, you always overhype it, I'm not. I think this is one of those unbelievable make or break or fights, because it's a perfect storm that's brought these two together. When Joyce lost to Zhang on a bad eye a few months ago, it was Zhang's make or break fight. Now it's Joyce's make or break fight. And I tell you what, it's going to be a pleasure being ringside and watching it. And don't ask me who will win. I thought Joyce would win the first fight by a country mile. I would have bet my house on it. I just fancy Joyce in the rematch. He'll get it right, because in the first fight he got every single thing wrong.
You got so much going on this weekend. Conor Benn as well, he's back tomorrow, which a lot of people wouldn't have been expecting, but no doubt, Steve, you thought he would be back maybe?
I knew he'd be back. I wasn't sure when he'd be back. He had his provisional suspension lifted, but the moment it was lifted, UKAD and the British Boxing Board of Control appealed against that decision, which means he's still in some kind of Neverland, still in some kind of middle region. However, the Florida Commission have granted him a licence. He'll fight tomorrow, and of course, it's good to see him back. Under these circumstances, maybe not so, but at least he's back. He is not banned at the moment. His licence is in some kind of bizarre region. His provisional suspension was lifted. However, there is an appeal to stop him getting his licence back. So we'll fight in Florida, and we'll fight on, and we'll fight on. It's a terribly murky case.
Buncey, just very quickly, because the teams are back out here at the Stadium of Light. The big fights, they just keep coming, don't they, on 5 Live? And obviously you're going to be there with them, with another Brit next week, Jordan Thompson. We've got commentary of that, haven't we?
A top tennis player, Jordan Thompson. He could have played tennis. He could have been part of proper team. He was a real good tennis player, fighting for a world title against an unbeaten Australia next Saturday at Wembley. Jai Opetaia. He's a massive underdog, but you know what? That's what we like in boxing. We love an underdog.
And we love you, Buncey. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening and weekend.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Karen Bardsley, Vicky Sparks, the second half, England against Scotland.
Thanks very much, Jules. Both sets of players out on the pitch in their respective pre-second half huddles. England in the white shirts, the navy shorts and the white socks. Scotland in the navy shirts, the white shorts and the red socks. No changes by either manager, England's Serena Wiegman or Scotland's Pedro Martinez Losa at half-time. Well, England have won all 12 of their matches in the women's game against Scotland on home soil. But Scotland's Pat Nevin with that Kirsty Hansen goal right on the stroke of half-time. It was pretty much the last kick of the game in that first half. Have got themselves a lifeline, and they will feel they've deserved it.
And it's sometimes, you know, if you're 2-0 down, you feel completely out of it. 2-1 down, you suddenly think, oh, we're in the front foot. We've got nothing to lose. We might as well have a go at it. And that is that infamous, probably untrue one of, is, you know, 2-0 lead is a dangerous one. I'm not sure if England would agree with that just now, but Scotland will be certainly buoyed at the start of the second half.
And it will be Scotland to get us underway in this second half, playing from left to right. England leading by 2-1 as the early header is won by Alex Greenwood for England, sent it out for a Scotland throw. Let's head to the Championship. Half-time, Birmingham QPR, Charlie Slater.
0-0, enjoyable watch though. Smith and Armstrong have gone close for QPR. At the other end, Sam Field's bicycle kick, goal line clearance, kept it at 0-0, and that is the way of it at the break. Good game, expecting goals in the second half.
Thanks very much, Charlie. We'll keep you right up to date here on 5 Live as Sophie Howard plays it forward for Scotland. Katie Zellin will get there for England. One of 3 changes to the side that started that World Cup final defeat by Spain just over a month ago. As Mary Earps clears the ball away from the onrushing Martha Thomas. The header is won over on that far side by Kirsty Hansen, but Georgia Stanway and Lucy Bronze between them will bring it down. Katie Zellin, though, is dispossessed, and here goes Caroline Weir, goes for the little lob, and Mary Earps watches that behind. Well, she scored a few like that, Karen, for Manchester City. I think a couple of them have gone in against Mary Earps.
I'll be honest, a lot of them used to go in against me as well in training. I mean, what a fantastic technician Caroline Weir is. But yeah, she's definitely had Mary Earps' number in the past in those Manchester derbies, that's for sure.
Yes, currently of Real Madrid, Caroline Weir was their Player of the Year last campaign in her debut season with them. She is an outstanding player for club and country. As the ball goes out of play for a Scotland throw, and we can take you through the lineup. So for England, Mary Earps in goal. The back 3. And they're in possession of Millie Bright, Jess Carter and Alex Greenwood. Lucy Bronze is playing at right wing back. Chloe Kelly playing at left wing back, with Rachel Daly and Lauren Hemp up front, and Lauren James just sitting in behind them. Georgia Stanway and Katie Zellin taking up their positions in midfield. But as we mentioned in the first half, it is a fluid formation at times from the Lionesses, and we will keep an eye on it in this second half. Scotland in possession just outside their own penalty area. They go all the way back to their regular experienced number 1 who turns 32 tomorrow, Lee Gibson. If you've been following Scotland in the women's game for a while, you might have known her. It's Lee Alexander. She is a huge player for Scotland. Number 1 at their last major tournaments, the World Cup back in 2019, including in that 2-1 defeat by England. And that is the scoreline here in the northeast at the Stadium of Light, as Jess Carter is in possession, sends it back to the skipper Millie Bright. So Scotland with Gibson in goal, the back 4 of McLaughlin, Howard, Coursey the captain, and Doherty. Ahead of them it's Grimshaw and Kerr, with Emsley, Weir and Hansen supporting Martha Thomas up front. A reminder, no 17-year-old Emma Watson in the squad for Scotland. That was a surprise. We knew they'd be missing Erin Cuthbert, the Chelsea midfielder, through injury. No talented teenager in the shape of Watson for Scotland to call upon today. Here is Jess Carter, out to the right hand side she goes, and Lucy Bronze dinks it forward, little 1-2 with Georgia Stanway, goes to the return. Rachel Daly will pick it up, right hand side with the green boots. Bronze has made her way into the area. Katie Zellin plays it forward, poor ball from the Manchester United captain. Millie Bright was 1-on-1 there for a moment with Martha Thomas, but she won the header. And Pat Nevin, you're nodding your head again.
Yeah, I've been spotted that when they made the attack there, and I'm watching Jess Carter walking off and thinking, you're leaving your centre back 1-on-1. Wow, you really must trust Millie Bright. Now we all know she's a fabulous defender and she'll love those 1-on-1 challenges, but there was no need to do that there.
No, I think you're right, Pat. I think there's an element of complacency in moments in the first half that we saw from England, and I think it's just those little small details that you rightly point out that just need to be secured. I mean, it's nice to have that much confidence in your teammate, but you got to be ready for goes wrong,
There's
right?
another thing to top it. Millie should be shouting, hey, get back. Even if it's one in front, one behind, that's fine. But she was left on her own for a long time there. It wasn't just when the ball was played up. It was a good 15 seconds before that.
And then they know each other well enough from Chelsea, of course, as well, as Millie Bright in possession does send it to Jess Carter. Plays it back to Bright. She's closed down by Martha Thomas, so Bright ups the pace, fizzes it out to the right hand side, and Lucy Bronze as Georgia Stanway playing on the shoulder of the defence. Rachel Daly through the centre. Daly lays it off. The shot is driven in from the edge of the area by Lauren Hemp and fizzes just past the post as suspicion of offside, and indeed the flag does go up on the far side against Rachel Daly, so we can head for half-time in the Super League. To bring us up to date, it's Matt Newson.
Yeah, all three of Super League's kind of title chasers all winning at half-time. So Wigan leading Lee, Catalan Dragons leading Salford, and St Helens leading Hull. But the key thing is that Lee scored just before half-time. So I wouldn't say that they've created a huge amount of drama, but there's certainly what you might call a ripple in the pool. You can follow that game, Lee against Wigan, on 5 Live Sports Extra, and there are other games also available on the BBC Sport website and app.
Thanks very much, Matt. Lauren James goes for the curler and doesn't quite pull it off, as she did with such aplomb at the World Cup. She scored 3 absolutely superb goals in Australia, but that time it was just past the post.
Oh, Vicky, I could see that she was shaping up to cut inside, and so many times, like you said, against China specifically, she loves curling in that ball just beyond the goalkeeper inside that near post.
Scotland made a big tactical change. I'll tell you about it in just a minute, and it's a real question that England have got the ball again. However, the both wide players, the wide attacking players of Scotland, when Scotland get the ball, they sprint up to the top and stand on the bylines, as if to say to the back three, you're going to come out here. It's a real big, brave call that Scotland have gone with here. It'll be interesting to see if England adapt to that.
Yeah, you've got Hansen over on that left-hand side, Emsley over on this right-hand side, and they're doing exactly what Pat says as Lauren Hemp bursts down the right-hand side for England into the penalty area, up against 2 Scotland defenders, tries to pull it back to Rachel Daly on the edge of the box, and Scotland clear away. Here is Jess Carter, plays it forwards to Georgia Stanway, and now in field to Katie Zellen. But yes, Claire Emsley and Kirsty Hansen, 2 players with huge experience in the WSL in England as well. They are certainly looking to show that they remain a handful for several of their former opponents and teammates in the WSL, as Chloe Kelly wins the throw for England on this near side, much to the chagrin of Rachel McLaughlin. But it is a throw to England just about level with the edge of that penalty area. England leading 2-1 in this Nations League match against Scotland with 7 minutes played in this second half. Here is Alex Greenwood, plays it back to Millie Bright. A reminder, plenty at stake here for both England and Scotland. Of course, the Nations League itself, the winners go through to the finals. If England got through to the finals of the Nations League and were to reach the final itself, then they would qualify Team GB for the Olympics in Paris next summer, which would be of huge interest to the likes of Scotland's Caroline Weir, who featured for Team GB a couple of years ago in Tokyo. And it also has ramifications as Nations League campaign for the qualification campaign for the Euros in 2025 as well. Both England and Scotland. England as defending European champions, Scotland's looking to make their second Euros in their history. Hope to be at Emsley's delivery for Scotland into the area, cleared away by Millie Bright just inside the 6-yard box. And Lauren Hemp will pick it up, lays it off to Rachel Daly. England still penned in their own half at the moment. This is a good start to the second half by Scotland, ranked 23rd in the world to England's 4th. Scotland, who have only beaten England twice before in their previous 26 meetings, and not since 2011. But Scotland, who are showing once again how they are progressing under Pedro Martinez-Losa. But make no mistake, England, as the reigning European champions, as the World Cup runners-up just over a month ago, are the overwhelming favourites for this one. But they are not having it their own way at the moment, as a heavy challenge goes in over on this near side. Lauren Hemp is down. Initially, our referee from Italy, Maria Sole Caputi, allowed play to continue. She was happy initially with the challenge, but is just checking to make sure Hemp is okay. England is possession anyway on the halfway line.
It's not a foul. It's definitely not a foul. But when the Scotland players, particularly on this right-hand side, get a chance to make a tackle and make it robust. But it's what it is. Again, it's one of the joys of the women's game, the amount of times you get a robust tackle and you just on it. Brilliant. I just love it to bits.
Sure. Well, Lauren Hemp certainly went down with a thud, didn't she? She felt that one. But the momentum is definitely shifting. Scotland are certainly clawing their way back into this.
Georgia Stanway, good tackle on Caroline Weir as Weir threatened to steal the ball away from her. Here goes Lauren James. She ran into trouble in the shape of the Leicester and Scotland defender Sophie Howard, and Scotland have it just outside their own penalty area. Karen, we saw so much of Lauren James, the good and the bad at the World Cup. How would you assess her performance so far on this, her first start since that needless red card against Nigeria in the last 16?
Yeah, on the whole, I think she's linked up play pretty well. She's been asking questions of the Scotland back four in terms of if she's going to drop into those pockets of space. Is someone going to come out and go with her? She's been linking up nicely on the the left and the right with Chloe Kelly and then Lauren Hemp whenever they interchange. So yeah, she's been effective, but I think more gaps, as Pat and I were discussing at halftime, will start to appear, and those will be the crucial moments. How can she capitalize on that?
Out to the left-hand side goes Scotland, and they win the throw on the halfway line.
I just wonder tactically what you do when your back three have got a bit of a problem. If you're England just now, you ask one of the wing backs to just fall back a little bit.
Just wait, yeah.
Yeah, and what's Lucy Bronze? Have a look at her now. She's actually filled in at right back now. She's almost made it a 4 again. So Wiegman knows what she's doing, I have to say.
Yeah, out Scotland go to this left-hand side. This is what we didn't see so much of in the first half as they continue that run. Scotland slide the ball through to Martha Thomas in the area. Wright came across and Thomas couldn't quite get the deflection off the England captain, and the ball is behind for an England goal kick. But yes, it's one of these things during the first half, because England was so dominant in possession, there wasn't much time to spot it, but it did look as though that when they're out of possession they slot into this back four, and actually we're seeing more possession from Scotland in this second half, and that is very evident. Greenwood's coming out to the left hand side. It's going to a 2. I mean, we saw the flexibility in game over the World Cup. Is this a strength for England purely and utterly, or is this still Serena Wiegman doesn't quite know what the best side is?
Do you know what the problem is? Soon you've got Lucy Bronze, you've got an extra player.
Here comes Scotland, ball into the penalty area. It was behind the runners. There were 3 navy blue shirts in there, and the ball spins out of play for a throw to England on this near left hand side. Chloe Kelly will take it, but that was half a chance for Scotland had they found the delivery.
That we've underlined exactly what we're talking about. Lucy Bronze was 30 yards up the field. England lost the ball. She made up the space, killed the space by getting back there, and that's good management to know when you've got a player who's extra special, who can cover that entire area. And she won't always get back all the time, but most of the time she's got back and killed that space, but it'll be hard for her.
Here come England down the left hand side with Lauren Hemp. Rachel Daly's in the centre. Scotland have the bodies back, so Hemp just checks on the edge of the penalty area. England leading by 2-1. 11 minutes gone in this second half here at the Stadium of Light in Sunderland in the Women's Nations League, the inaugural match in this competition for both of these nations. Here is Chloe Kelly, left hand side, plays it back to Alex Greenwood. Daly's waiting in the penalty area. Greenwood plays it forward to Chloe Kelly once more. Hemp is there. Kelly will bring it back, and Rachel Daly miscue, cleared away at the back by Nicola Doherty, and that's a let off for Scotland. If Daly had caught that cleanly, that could well have been 3-1 England.
And it really seemed like Scottish defender Howard really struggled to figure out where Rachel Daly was coming from. It looked like she completely lost track of her, and to be honest, Rachel Daly really should have banged that one to the back of the net, because she was relatively free and unscathed in the box. Wouldn't you say, Pat?
I mean, definitely. Intriguing that England are going to be the first ones to make the change, because that makes you think, Scotland have asked a few questions here at the start of the second half. Maybe a slight surprise, I have to say. I think Chloe Kelly's got herself into some great positions so far. Doesn't look injured to me.
Well, let's see what this does from a tactical perspective, because Ella Toone is the player that is coming on, who usually plays in a central position. Chloe Kelly, very much a wide player, is coming off. So let's see what happens here. I wonder if they're just trying to get Lauren James into the game a little bit more.
Daly will come left, won't you? Daly will come left, I think.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So Rachel Daly's come over to this left-hand side. Lauren Hemp for now has drifted over to the right. Let's see whether she stays there or comes central once more as England lose possession from the throw. It's cleared away by Sophie Howard at the back for Scotland. Lucy Bronze picks it up. Here is Lauren Hemp out on the right. Plays it back to Lucy Bronze. Stanway ahead of her. Bronze under pressure. Goes back to Katie Zellem midway through the Scotland half. Here is Alex Greenwood. England leading by 2-1 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Now Rachel Daly out on this left-hand side. Plays it forward, looking for Lauren James, who's taken up that more advanced left position. Here is Rachel Daly, swings it in right-footed, almost falls inside the penalty area for Bronze. Hempworth with the overhead, Lauren James with the follow-up shot, but the whistle is gone. It's a free kick to Scotland inside their own penalty area. And again, Karen, in terms of a tactical perspective, this just shows the options that Sarina Wiegman has. Rachel Daly's been playing up top, but now she comes back out to left wing back. Yeah, it's it's a great question to have. Where am I going to put arguably some of my best players? So we've seen again the versatility from Rachel Daly. She's happy to get up and down this near side, but the deliveries that she can put into the area, are arguably one of her strengths as well. And to have the versatility of a player like Lauren James to be able to sit in the 10 or move into the 9, even push Lauren Hemp a little bit higher up and have a playmaker as creative as Ella Toon. I mean, what a problem to have. Ball played forward for Scotland's Martha Thomas to chase. Jess Carter is there, sends it back to Mary Earps, who made that very good save from Caroline Weir in the first half. They've had chances, Scotland. They've taken one of them. England have taken 2 of theirs. The goal ruled out from offside against Chloe Kelly as well. Scotland in possession, send it out to Rachel McLaughlin. The first proper Mexican wave goes around in front of us at the Stadium of Light, and Pat, you might need to jump up if that keeps coming.
I'm nearly jumped up there because Scotland, there's a lot of balls playing in midfield they're not doing right. They've got a gap in there and they've got a player in there who's free, play it in, but trying to get it wide just slightly too early when the ball isn't on. And I think that's something Pedro will be working on. You need to play, if you're going to play this passing game, pass out from the back. It's very, very technical, and once or twice you see it going wrong. It's easy from up here though, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think Scotland could be a bit more brave as well. They're in the right areas, and if you do receive it, you don't always have to play back, and happily receive back foot and turn, go to goal.
Yeah.
England in possession just inside their own penalty area. Millie Bright plays it out to Jess Carter. This right hand side, she's pursued by Martha Thomas, who's had a really good game for Scotland. The Tottenham forward joining them from Manchester United over the summer. Scotland have won the possession back over on that left hand side. Ball played forward for Caroline Weir to chase. Millie Bright is there and she posed the danger of Weir. She clears it straight out of play. No messing around from the England captain. And it's a Scotland throw on the far side. England 2, Scotland 1 in the Women's Nations League. Scotland take the throw quickly down to the byline they go, defending to D for Jess Carter. Scotland try and work the opportunity into the penalty area, but the white shirts of England are standing up well. Good foot in by Lauren Hemp over on that far side, but Lucy Bronze has lost it. Scotland have it down by the corner flag, delivery into the area. Thomas is there and Mary Earps is right behind it on her goal line to keep it at England 2, Scotland 1.
Oh, I'll be honest, Vicky, I was a bit concerned for a second because I could see Mary Earps moving out to that far side to be in a support position to help build out, but then the ball turned over and she was kind of caught towards her near post, and then the cross came in, so she did really, really well to recover centrally onto her goal line.
Karen spotted it really early there. The momentum's completely changed. It's not that Scotland are dominating, but they're not being dominated, and that is a big difference in the game just now. And just that moment there when you got the ball in the right back position with Lucy Bronze, 2 players on their own goal line, closing her down, loses the ball, and that led to that half a chance.
Here comes Scotland down the left-hand side once more. Caroline Weir's delivery into the area, just about flicked away by Alex Greenwood. Out to the right-hand side comes Scotland as the delivery into the area from McLaughlin is cleared away by Millie Bright, and Scotland have a corner. Other scores that are pertinent for the home nations in the Nations League, particularly in this group. It is currently 1-1 between Belgium and the Netherlands. That is in the 77th minute. That would be very good news for both England and Scotland, were the Netherlands in particular to drop points there. The Netherlands World Cup quarter-finalists, ranked 7th in the world, the second highest ranked side in this group, and probably England's biggest challengers if they want to win this Nations League group. But Scotland have hopes of starting well here and dreaming under Pedro Martinez-Losa, looking for this equaliser. Corner is swung in. England just about get it to the edge of the area, and Lauren James will help it on. Elsewhere in League A, Wales have lost their opener by a goal to nil against Iceland, and in League B, the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland take on each other tomorrow. That will be a tasty match-up indeed. That's in League B of the Women's Nations League. Scotland with the throw on the far side to the Championship. Charlie Slater.
8 on the clock. It's Birmingham 0, QPR 0, but here come Rangers with a shot that's deflected, brilliantly saved and bundled wide. It's going to be a goal kick, but what a golden opportunity that was for Field to give his side the lead. It remains 0-0.
Thanks very much, Charlie. A reminder, coverage over on 5 Sports Extra and the BBC Sport website of the final day of the regular league season in Rugby League. Out to the left-hand side, Scotland still preparing to take this throw. Plenty of Premier League commentaries coming up for you as 5 Live over this weekend as well. It gets underway with Manchester City against Nottingham Forest, 3 o'clock tomorrow. Scotland in possession over on the far side. Sam Kerr sends it all the way back into her own half, and now Sophie Howard picks it up once more. She's closed down by Ella Toon. The ball is forwards. Emily Bright gets there, but England have given it away. Loose pass from Katie Zellum straight to Caroline Weir. Right hand side, Scotland really building momentum. Emsley loses that momentum, trying to find her former Manchester City teammate Caroline Weir. Sends it straight out of play. But one of the things that Pedro Martinez-Losa said coming into this game is the change in mindset that there's been for these Scotland players to believe in themselves. And we go back to this 6-game unbeaten run. They haven't always played the top opposition in that. However, the victory over Australia, you think back to in April, was so key, and they really have hopes of getting something against England here as Caroline Weir lets fly from 20 yards. We've seen her score some worldies from that range. This one is blocked away by England, but they are under pressure here, and this is a test, make no mistake, for Serena Wiegmann's side as that ball is intercepted by McLaughlin and the ball goes out of play for a throw to England midway inside their own half, and a chance for a bit of respite.
Well, I mentioned to Karen at half time, I think I'm enjoying this game. You know, it's 2-1, Scotland were down, but it's an enjoyable game. I'm enjoying it even more now because Scotland, I tell you what, they've a really good second half. And you're talking about that belief. There is no lack of belief for that group of players out there just now. And just for a few moments in this second half, Scotland looked the sharper and the fitter.
I would have to agree with you, Pat. I think, Claire Emsley looks really, really keen to get forward. And the observation that you made earlier around Christy Hansen getting forward as well, it's sustaining the attack a lot more in the England half, which is, allowing Martha Thomas to stay involved, but allowing the midfield wizards like Caroline Wheeler to get forward as well.
Rachel Daly's drawn the foul there, and it's a good job she did so for England, because Claire Emsley was about to steal that ball away, but she gets the free kick. Let's head back to the final day of the Rugby League. Matt Newsom, is there drama?
At the moment, no, we are right in the middle of boring territory here. Wigan still top, still on course for the league leaders, still leading Lee. You've got Catalan here, 8 points to 2 in front against Salford. They will retain second spot as it is. Saints have extended their lead to 14 points to 0, but at the moment, it's academic. They stay in third as it stands, and they will have to play next week.
Thank you, Matt. Full coverage over on 5 Sports Extra, and you can listen to commentary as well. All the relevant games on the BBC Sport website. Here at the Stadium of Light, as the lights begin to dot around us, the mobile phone cameras are on, the lights are shining, waving all around this capacity crowd in the northeast. Sellout crowd for the return of the Lionesses. It is still England 2, Scotland 1, and McLaughlin has the ball midway through the Scotland half on the right hand side. It is hard to overstate how big this would be if Scotland could take points off England here. It would be hugely damaging to England's hopes of qualifying for the Nations League finals for themselves. Yes, there's only one game played, but with the quality of the Netherlands to come, the Netherlands who are currently drawing with Belgium, which is good news for England and Scotland, and Belgium themselves too. But in their previous 26 meetings as Scotland cleared the ball over the halfway line, they've avoided defeat against England just 3 times. England have only lost twice under Serena Wiegmann in 39 games. They're leading by 2-1. Can Scotland find a way to take points off them as Lucy Pons takes a bit of a chance inside her own area? Carter then goes down inside her own box. And Pat Nevin, you look to the heavens because it is a free kick to England. It's probably deserved, but again, it's Scotland so close to stealing the ball inside the penalty area.
Why take the chance? Why take the chance?
It's so unnecessary, I agree.
Lucy Bronze is right back there, and of course because you know how strong a player she is, and the time's gone by, she just shrugs people off, doesn't she? She's not doing that with the Scotland players just now because they're all over her.
No, but there's an element as well. Like, we're seeing a lot of long balls coming from this England side as well, and no one's been able to kind of hold them up, and you're just seeing it come straight back down. England's out of shape, they're expansive, and then Lucy's Bronze is having to go 2v1 in the edge of your own area and try to play out through Jess Carter and gets absolutely bowled over. So I think we're causing our own problems here, for England.
Ball is cleared away by the Scotland number 1 Lee Gibson towards the halfway line, but England at the moment just cannot retain possession inside the Scotland half. They lead England by 2-1 here on 5 Live as Sam Kerr under pressure. Scotland clear it up towards the halfway line. Kirsty Hanson will allow the ball to bounce out of play, and it will be a Scotland throw just over the midway point in this second half. And you can feel some nerves around the Stadium of Light from the Lionesses fans.
There's certainly an amount of tension, I think. It was kind of started off with that wave going around, and then now there's just kind of this weird little hum. But I was just thinking then, you've not mentioned Georgia Stanway. We've not kind of heard the typical players getting on the ball, and the energy has really, really changed here.
Scotland advance further inside the England half. They win another throw over on the far side. It's the key question, Karen. How much are England missing Keira Walsh?
Let's be honest, there's a Keira Walsh-shaped hole in the center of the pitch at this moment in time. She does so well to kind of dictate the tempo, and she's so brave to consistently get on the ball, and the girls know, no matter what they do, what kind of ball they give her, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, she'll make it work and she'll link up play, and they're really, really missing that. The tempo's really gone out of this game from an England perspective at the minute.
But not from a Scotland perspective. And Pedro Martinez-Losa, their manager, can't sit still, the former Arsenal boss. He's been sitting down in the technical area. Now he's back up out of the dugout, which is a bit of a long way at the Stadium of Light here. You've got to walk a bit to get there. There's a dark concrete strip around this green pitch, and Pedro Martinez-Losa is currently standing just in front of it. He knows his Scotland side are right in this, not just in terms of the scoreline. They trail by 2-1, but in terms of their performance, can they test Mary Earps, the reigning FIFA best goalkeeper, the Golden Glove winner at the World Cup, as she's closed down inside the penalty area by Martha Thomas. But Jess Carter will play it back to Mary Earps once more. And once more, Earps will go back out to Carter. I guess the other caveat for England is, Scotland's last match was back in July. They beat Finland. England's played 33 days ago in the World Cup final, and Sarina Wiegman has mentioned that she's very worried about the short turnaround when she was asked about it. England's with a rare foray, nice little back heel to set Lucy Bronze away down the right hand side, pulls the ball in, will come to Zellem. She's well challenged on the edge of the area. England trying to keep it alive, and it's hooked over by Lauren James from 12 yards out, and it remains England 2, Scotland 1.
If you're anyone playing against England and they go down the line, so they've got crosses that are good quality crosses, and then you're worried, you're really concerned. They have got that power right at the top of the show. Before the start of the game, we talked about that power, that physicality, and it's almost as if England are very dependent on that now. You've the other technical sides of the game, which in times gone past, and certainly in parts of the World Cup, they showed they were capable of doing that. A little bit too dependent on this long ball.
You're spot on right now. I think what I mentioned earlier was we haven't really heard Georgia Stanway mentioned at all. She's not really gotten on the ball. We're used to seeing her as being that kind of that conduit in the midfield, and she's really just kind of being bypassed, I think.
Scotland have a player down over on the far side. Again, this is interesting. We've seen this a couple of times from the referee. Martha Thomas, in possession for Scotland, was quite happy to continue playing, but Maria Sole-Caputi wanted to make sure that there was nothing overly serious over on that far side for Kirsty Hanson, and she is just getting up to her feet there. So a brief break for Scotland's players, including Claire Emsley, to come over and get a bit of instruction from Pedro Martinez-Losa. A reminder, you'll be able to listen to all the reaction to this match, and of course looking ahead to the Premier League's weekend action on the Football Daily. Download that from BBC Sounds. We have a host of commentaries coming up for you this weekend as Scotland get the play underway once more down that left-hand side, including all of the 5 Premier League games on Sunday. You can listen to the North London derby and Sheffield United against Newcastle on 5 Live. We've got Liverpool against West Ham on Sports Extra at 2 o'clock, and the other 2 o'clock games, Brighton against Bournemouth and Chelsea against Aston Villa, you can listen to on the BBC Sport website and at 5 Live. Premier League Sunday, very much the place to be for all 5 of the Premier League commentaries. Here come England outside their own penalty area, cleared away by Millie Bright, straight out of play. They're losing their way here, England. They lead by 2-1.
Do you know, in the first half, Millie Bright would have got that ball there and had plenty of time and would be able to pass it and control it. Not getting it now. And really closed up as much as possible. Got to be brave to do that away from home if you're Scotland. You've got to be fit to keep on doing that. They've no choice just now, Scotland. They're a goal down, but they're just growing in belief at the moment.
Down the left-hand side they come with Kirsty Hanson up against Lucy Bronze. There's Emsley in the centre, Thomas as well. Oh, Emsley almost got there. Very good heading interception by Alex Greenwood to send the ball out for a Scotland throw. Had she not got there, Emsley was ready and waiting to nod in right behind her.
And it's a fantastic delivery from the Scottish winger as well. I mean, but you're absolutely right, Vicky. Crucial header from Alex Greenwood.
You don't often see Lucy Bronze being taking apart 3 or 4 times in a row in the second half, do you?
Yep, she has had a few lapses of concentration, Lucy Bronze. They can be so costly because she's such a key player for England. If you get past Bronze, you're in. Here is McLaughlin down the right-hand side, swings the ball in. Marriott's good punch. The volley comes back in. Oh, it hits the bar. Fabulous effort over on the far side from Kirsty Hanson, who's already scored once in this game. What brilliant technique to rattle the woodwork, and the woodwork is how close Scotland have come to scoring this equaliser as they come forward once again. That time the delivery from Hanson fizzes straight out for an England goal kick. But that is no more than Scotland deserve for this second half performance, and they're unlucky that it didn't dip underneath the bar and make it 2-2.
Absolutely, Vicky. I mean, it's a good punch from Mary Earps to clear lines, but the second phase is what I was most concerned about. Kirsty Hanson is there completely on her lonesome, and what a technique to kind of just put that back on target. And my goodness, England are very, very lucky not to have conceded the equaliser there.
Well, for the listener, it comes out to her. She's almost in the corner of the box. If she lashes that, that's going anywhere. But she doesn't. She takes her time on the volley and just guides it back. And she's so unlucky it hits the crossbar. That would have been such a memorable goal.
Very composed.
Outstanding technique from the Aston Villa player. And again, Scotland come close. Can they fashion another chance?
She's arguably been the best player on the pitch in the second half, I would suggest. You know, she's looked really dangerous every time she's getting on the ball, Kirsty Hanson, and honestly, Lucy Bronze looked very rattled, and she's now rarely getting up the field. She's been pushed right back. Again, that's partly tactical, what they did at the start of the second half, and it was a major tactical call, but it's worked mostly for Scotland so far, but not well enough for the Scots.
They still trail by 2-1. But they have been the better side. There is no doubt about it in this second half. Food for thought for Serena Wiegmann, who's made one change, bringing on Ella Toone. Pedro Martinez Losa yet to change his first 11, and you can understand why. They have been very impressive in this second period. Scotland, the underdogs, but here come the reigning European champions, England. Rachel Daly's ball forward, though, won't find Ella Toone, and will be collected as it's cleared away by Scotland by Alex Greenwood just inside the England half. We touched on it earlier, Karen, but does Wiegmann know her best team, her best formation?
Oh, this question again.
I'll tell you what, I'll let you think, because Georgia Stanway's driven from 35 yards and it's straight down the throat of Lee Gibson, so not much thinking time. Karen Bardsley, over to you.
It's a difficult question to answer, really, because, I mean, from the looks of it, it would suggest that no, perhaps she doesn't. I mean, I've not seen Lucy Bronze like this, you know, since maybe towards the last game of the World Cup, you know, where she didn't have her best match. And, you know, perhaps Serena Wiegmann has understood that, you know, Maya Letitia could potentially be the next right back. You know, is there an opportunity here for a key substitution to get, you know, high quality minutes in a very, very important game? You know, so in terms of Rachel Daly, you know, in terms of LJ, she's in the 9 at the minute. You know, how does she get all of her best players on the pitch at the same time?
England in possession just inside the Scotland half. England leading by 2-1, 12 minutes plus added time to play. And it was this conundrum for her at the World Cup, wasn't it? The substitutes made as the ball over the top won't reach Hemp, and it's all the way through with Lee Gibson, the Scotland goalkeeper. Who do you put in that two if you play this 3-5-2 formation? And sometimes it was Lauren Hemp and Chloe Kelly. As you say, Lauren James is up there now with Lauren Hemp, and there is this fluidity, but they don't have Alessia Russo. They've given her a few days extra to recover. They're hoping she'll be available for a huge game. On paper, England's toughest match in this Nations League group, away to the Netherlands in Utrecht on Tuesday. But as soon as you move Rachel Daly to left wing back, you don't have Bethany England for this camp because she's injured, then you are thinking, well who do we put up top? And you don't have that out and out natural forward as Scotland have a free kick midway through their own half.
Yeah, initially that's, I think, my thought was that we were going to see perhaps 4 in the back and just kind of revert to, either that 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, just in terms of defensive stability, which we've seen tonight. They've not looked the most stable, have they, Pat?
At the start, they get the 2 goals from that. Right? They get the wing backs, get them forward, and they get the 2 goals from it. Fair enough. Start of the second half, Scotland adapt it and change it. It's quite obvious for me. You can see it up here in the first minute. But she's not changed it to adapt to that. And that's the international football. You need to do that. You're adapting constantly through games and make sure you get it right. One of the things that's very noticeable for me is Lauren James is probably the most naturally talented player out in that field just now. But she's not a chaser, is she? She's not going to close it down. And that can sometimes lead to your team falling back a little bit. And it's kind of almost played into Scotland's hands. But then again, Lauren James gets the ball in the right area, she'll score.
And I'm curious, to be honest, as well, because we're seeing Lauren James obviously higher up. We're seeing Ella Toon in that 10 role. But again, I mean, where are their strengths best utilised?
Scotland in possession just inside the England half. They're on the halfway line now, coming forward down the left-hand side, but we'll go back into their own half. So let's head to the Championship. Birmingham QPR, Charlie Slater.
65 minutes on the clock. It's still 0-0, but I'm not sure how. Scott Hogan, one-on-one with the goalkeeper a few moments ago, did everything right, tried to slot it underneath Asmir Begovic, but 36 years young, he got down brilliantly, made an excellent save, and it's still goalless.
How about this for a scoreline in the other game? In England and Scotland's group, Belgium have taken a late lead against the Netherlands. That is in added time there. Well, that really would put the cat amongst the pigeons, and it certainly would if Scotland can find an equaliser against England. This group would be wide open. Yes, it's only match day 1, but when you've only got 6 games to try and secure your place as group winners, 6 games for England to try and win the group and have a good chance of sending Team GB to the Olympics in Paris next year as the nominated home nation. Well, huge result that, and as England win the set piece just inside the Scotland half, that makes the Netherlands perhaps, Karen, even more dangerous on Tuesday as England prepare to go there. If they've lost the opener against Belgium, if they lose to England, their hopes could be over.
Oh my goodness, I mean, I'm really shocked by that potential result as well. I mean, I spoke to Kirsten Kasperai at Man City, who just left not too long ago, and she was really, really keen to get back with the Netherlands. And I mean, she didn't kind of allude to anything in terms of how she thought the game was going to go. But I mean, Belgium are a much improved side since what we saw at the Arnold Clark Cup last season. So it'll certainly be interesting to see how the Netherlands react, to your point, Vicky.
So double change for Scotland, who are still very much in this. Lisa Evans and Amy Gallagher have come on. Claire Emsley, one of the players making way.
Yeah, another one's been Martha Thomas, and to be honest, Martha Thomas, what a shift she has put in tonight. I'm not surprised at all she's given a rest. And Scotland are running out of time. There's less than 10 minutes to go just now, but that forward line has run and run and run, particularly in this second half. And Lisa Evans coming on for Claire Emsley, she'll be asked to do exactly the same job.
Yeah, very experienced player Lisa Evans, as the ball goes all the way back to Mary Earps, who's closed down by one of those substitutes, Amy Gallagher. The ball is over the halfway line. Scotland win it back and win the free kick as well. Let's head to the Rugby League. Matt Newsom.
Yeah, at the moment, Wigan's still top, although Lee had a try chalked off, which would have made it all square with a kick to come. Ollie Kildare, ex-Wigan player, denied by the video referee. Where it's got really interesting, though, is the battle for second. Catalan Dragons now all square with Salford after a try by Ben Helliwell, and St Helens leading Hull by 14 points to 6. You can listen to Lee Wigan on Sports Extra, and the other games are available on the BBC Sport website and app.
Thanks very much, Matt. So a bit of drama for you in the race for second at least in Rugby's Super League. Will we have late drama here at the Stadium of Light? Full time that is now, and the other group match in this group between Belgium and the Netherlands. Belgium winning by 2-1. England's with the free kick on the halfway line, and it just feels, Pat, as though we're entering gamesmanship time.
But it's not that bad. I have to say, I've not seen anyone rolling around who's not injured. But yeah, slowing it down a bit, yeah, absolutely. Taking a little bit more time with your free kicks, that sort of thing. Yeah, there's a bit of that going on just now, particularly from England. But then it should be from England. Scotland probably do the same in the same situation. But right now, do Scotland have the energy to keep on going? Well, we're going to find out.
Here goes Caroline Weir bursting towards the penalty area, lays it off to the right hand side. Here is Evans, who's just come on, lays it to the edge of the box. The shot is driven in, and Mary Earps is right behind it. And England will feel if they can restrict Scotland's and Christy Grimshaw to efforts from the edge of the area, they'll be doing well. But again, we have to mention there the movement of Amy Gallagher. 9 goals and 6 assists in just 6 league appearances for Celtic this season. She was the Scottish Premier League Player of the Month for August. She's on for her Scotland debut at the age of 24, and already her movement off the ball there was key in helping Scotland create that chance.
And she's a strong player, then kind of a low centre of gravity, and it's probably the sort of player that Millbrae probably doesn't like playing against, I would imagine.
I think that's fair to say. But I mean, well, Vicky, I'll head over to you.
As Rachel Daly plays it back to Mary Earps, again Scotland putting on the pressure. Our referee has spotted something there. Over on the far side, England's Lauren James is walking back, and again this is one of the things that the referee has done in this second half. Yes, Lauren James is holding her head, but she's walking back. I think Scotland are asking, well, why stop the play there when it's live outside the England penalty area? They're making a change. Another one, Scotland's, will be Fiona Brown to come on and Rachel McLaughlin to come off. But I mean, we have seen that from the referee in this second period, just making sure that players are all right. But he's so far away from anything else that's happening, Karen. You can understand why Scotland feel a bit aggrieved, and I think Caroline Weir is coming over to the referee to make that point.
Yeah, no, certainly there's an element of frustration there, and to Pat's point earlier, is there an element of gamesmanship as well? But I think the most important part to mention was the unnecessary transition and turnover in the midfield from England in terms of Katie Zellum receiving and just playing a bit of a lackadaisical ball or lackadaisical pass. We're not seeing enough of getting the ball and looking to play forward, I think, from England, and it's unusual.
Lots of love for Mary Earps inside the Stadium of Light. Mary is the chance. She's played her part again. The Golden Glove winner at the World Cup. Big save from Caroline Weir in the first half, but Scotland rattling the bar in this second half at 2-1 down through Kirsty Hanson, who scored on the stroke of half-time to pull one back after Bronze and Hemp had scored excellent headers apiece for England. Rachel Daly having a header herself, ruled out for an offside from Chloe Kelly in the build-up. But still, with 3 minutes plus added time to play, is it to be another victory for England against Scotland?
You've just broken my heart there. You've just broken my heart there. I was looking at Karen's screen and it said there was 10 minutes, but it's frozen. I'll just keep my eye on the game in front of us now.
Well, we might have significant added time. We shall see. As England's in possession in the penalty area, a little bit of space here for Lauren Hemp. Nifty footwork, but the touch just took it away from her, and Sophie Howard will clear away. And you know what? Howard's done well there. She was caught, but initially the free kick wasn't given, then it was, but you do know as a player, if you're paying attention to what the referee's doing in this second half, if you stay down, particularly in your own penalty area, the referee's probably going to stop play, and England were building up a head of steam there.
They were, and England were disappointed at the stop, but I do think there was some pretty heavy contact there, and she's went clean through it. It's not the first time, that she just cleaned out everything in front of her. But she's got an injury as well. I have to say, Sophie Howard tonight, she's seriously impressed me. She's been really powerful, really strong. She might not be the most mobile I've ever seen, but she has been, she's been a rock, hasn't she?
Absolutely resolute, I have to say. Very, very solid. Really made it difficult for, Lauren James, Rachel Daly to look comfortable on the ball. Really putting them off. Even if you can't necessarily affect the ball, you can affect the player, can't you? And she's done that very well tonight.
So Scotland have a player down on the far side, receiving treatment. Players over, talking to their respective managers, Rachel Daly and Serena Wiegmann. Pedro Martinez Losa in conversation with his side as well. It's worth mentioning that as we have this stoppage, that there's been a real contest, and huge credit to Scotland's on the pitch, the way they played against England, but huge battles won off the pitch for both of these sides coming into this match. Millie Bright confirming, the England captain, that the England players have reached agreement with the FA on World Cup player bonuses, saying it's bigger than just the bonus, it's about being world leaders on and off the pitch, more than finances, everything to do with the next generation. And Scotland as well were having their own battle, weren't they? Captain Rachel Corsie, representing their players, withdrew an inequality case last week on the day that a tribunal hearing was set to begin. The SFA say the matter has been resolved. Rachel Corsie spoken very positively about the significant inroads, as she calls them, the evolutionary journey that they're on together with the Scottish FA. And as we prepare to get underway here again, Pat and Karen, it's just more evidence of the progress that is happening off the pitch. And of course we talked about Spain before this match, and Spain have dominated the headlines, but behind the scenes England and Scotland have been fighting their own battles from the players' perspective, and it's so positive to see agreement now between the players and their respective FAs.
Mega long overdue. That's all we can say. And the way that the players in both nations have actually held themselves and comported themselves and played with such passion and all that thing, honestly, it's good that they've got agreement, and I hope they've got a fair agreement.
So 3 minutes of added time at the end of this game as Scotland make another change. Kirsty Hansen, who scored their goal on the stroke of half time and hit the woodwork in the second half, is replaced by Lauren Davidson. The final roll of the dice from Pedro Martinez Losa. Lauren Davidson, 21 years old, the forwards, plays for the reigning Scottish champions Glasgow City. Turning to youth over experience in these final stages, but have England done enough to see out victory in their first Women's Nations League match, or can Scotland finish with a flourish that they will feel their second half performance deserves? Huge credit has to go to them. But is it going to be all 3 points for England as the ball goes out of play for a Scotland throw on the halfway line?
Serena Wiegmann, she's not going to help get the ball back there, is she? She's letting it roll right past her. It's a discussion point possibly for later, but are there a number of similarities here with England's performances in some of the games in the World Cup when you expect them to go away?
Well, there might be a similarity here. If Lauren James can pop this in, she's in behind the Scotland defence. Can Lauren James make the 3-point save? Good save by Gibson initially, but Lauren James follows up as the flag goes up on the far side, and the cheers at the Stadium of Lights are curtailed. Well, she got there at the second attempt as the boos ring around, but Pat Nevin, you called it straight away, and I don't think that was Scotland bias.
No, it wasn't. No, definitely offside, but the assistant referee, it's one of those ones that let it play, and you're thinking, you either let it play or you don't. She let it half play. The shot wasn't taken, and then the flag was up. That was a weird way to do it, I have to say. Hey, but got the right decision? That's all you want.
1 minute of added time to play. As Lauren Hemp gives away the free kick, Scotland will take it right in front of Serena Wiegmann, just inside their own half. England 2, Scotland 1, here on 5 Live. It's now or never for Scotland as they look to take
need to get
points off
Sophie
England
Howard up there. She's
for
got
only
there.
the 4th time in their history. Gibson's free kick long towards the edge of the area, almost breaks inside the box, might do so for Davidson. Lucy Bronze gets there and takes it away from the substitute and uses all that experience to run it out to the right hand side. Scotland will pick it up just inside their own half. 20 seconds of added time to play. It's got to go forward now from Scotland. Played forward low along the ground. They almost pick it up. They do. Nice nutmeg on Katie Zellem. Picked up once more by Scotland. Goes out to the left-hand side. Left-footed delivery inside the area. The header is in, and Mary Earps is there to gather the effort from Fiona Brown. And that is almost that. The referee looks at her watch. Is she going to blow the full-time whistle? Yes, she is. Cheers of celebration mixed with not a short amount of relief here at the Stadium of Light. England get their Nations League campaign up and underway with a victory against Scotland, but my word, they had to work for it, particularly in that second half.
Job done for England, fortunately. Slightly biased, Pat, I'm sorry, but I have to say it was not a convincing performance from England tonight.
I would agree. I think England were brilliant for about half an hour, maybe even a little bit more than that. And you thought they could run away with this game, but we've seen this with England before. Scotland will always come back, they will always try, but Scotland are technically better now than they have been for quite some time. And I know England were missing one or two players, and very important players, and you've had retirements, etc. But for Scotland, with a more limited pool, we've managed to get so close and be the better team in the second half with their best player, Erin Cuthbert, who we really rely on. So, look forward to the return leg. That'll be a good one. Can't wait for it already. But well done, England. Makes it a really interesting little group we've got here.
Yeah, first defeat for Scotland in 7 games, but you can see the promise that they have under Pedro Martinez-Losa. You can see why the Scottish FA handed him a new deal until 2027 today. Sweet Caroline, why not? Why not indeed? From an England perspective, they've got the job done. Still, though, plenty of food for thought for Sarina Wiegman going forward in this campaign as they carry the hopes of Team GB as well as their own. It finishes in the northeast at Sunderland Stadium of Light. England 2, Scotland 1.
Sarina Wiegman on the full-time whistle went straight to her coaching team in the dugout and high-fived them. All the players are still out on the pitch. The Scotland players are going to their army of supporters in front of the goal. They are walking to and applauding them as Sweet Caroline and the flags of St George wave around the Stadium of Light. 41,000 in here tonight. Let's catch in on the Championship. The closing stage is there at St Andrews. Birmingham against Queen's Park Rangers. Charlie Slater.
It's still 0-0. We've got a little over 10 minutes remaining, but QPR nearly in front as they now bend another ball into the Birmingham penalty area, which has been headed behind for a corner kick. I told you last time I was with you about 36-year-old Asimir Begovic's brilliant save for QPR. This time it's 36-year-old keeper John Ruddy at the other end with a magnificent stop from a Chris Willock header. As I say, a QPR corner. It still feels like there's a winner in this, but it remains goalless.
Thank you, Charlie. Sarina Wiegman getting her players into a huddle just outside the centre circle here, which means we can catch in on the Super League. It's been a night of permutations. Wigan, when we last heard, was still in pole position. Matt Newsom.
Yeah, that's still the case. Haven't quite had to get the abacus out yet for top spot at the very least. Wigan, as you say, on course. That one's on Sports Extra, of course, Lee against Wigan. Catalan Dragons, most importantly, from a second place and home semi-final perspective, have just made it 15-8. A try from Julien Busquet. 9 to play here. It just might mean that Saints' 14-6 lead against Hull is academic, and they will finish third.
Thank you, Matt. You can hear those remaining 9 minutes over on 5 Sports Extra at the closing stages of that commentary between Lee and Wigan. So England's inaugural game of the UEFA Women's Nations League against Scotland finished 2-1 to England, thanks to goals from Lucy Bronze and Lauren Hemp. Pat Nevin, Karen Bardsley and Vicky Sparks are with me at the Stadium of Light. And Vicky, 2-1, would you say a fair result?
I think England will feel a measure of relief because Scotland were much the better side in the second half. England is the reigning European champions, the World Cup runners-up, of course, just over a month ago, were the clear favourites coming into this one. And initially, their performance underlined that. Headers from Lucy Bronze and Lauren Hemp, both fantastic. Both supplied by fantastic balls as well from Katie Zellum and Rachel Daly, who could have had a goal herself, although was ruled out for offside for Chloe Kelly's infringement in the build-up. But they probably felt, England, that they deserved that lead, but it all turned on the stroke of half-time. Having made that breakthrough in the final 6 minutes of the first half, England penned back right on the stroke of half-time. Kirsty Hansen squeezing the ball in off the post, and it was a not a different Scotland that came out in the second half, because they had shown glimpses of what they could do in the first half, particularly on the counter. Caroline Weir drawing a very good save from Mary Earps, Martha Thomas looking dangerous, but it was a Scotland that really came out with belief and confidence. Hansen hit the crossbar with a beautifully controlled volley from the corner of the penalty area, and they had a couple of other decent openings as well. But England, although second best, used that experience that they have garnered under Sarina Wiegman, that these players have garnered playing for their respective clubs at the highest level, and in the end they saw it out. It's a big win for England. It's an important win to get the Nations League off to a winning start, carrying as they do the hopes for Team GB as well. England need to win their group and then hopefully get through to the Nations League final as well to secure Team GB's place at the Olympics next summer. But they were made to really work for it by Scotland, and you can see why Scotland handed that new long-term contract to Pedro Martinez-Losa, the former Arsenal boss, today. They are going from strength to strength under him.
Karen Bardsley, Sarina Wiegman, this is the sort of test though she wanted. She was critical of the friendlies and the internationals that England had played in years gone by, and this new format, this new competition, it gives England and Scotland that challenge, that competitive edge that both sets of managers are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these competitive games are so crucial, as you allude to there, Jules. I mean, in years past, these qualifying matches would be a bit of a joke at times. It would just be something that you could kind of breeze through, but the level is really improved. We obviously saw it over the summer, but got some fantastic quality players in this Scotland squad. Caroline Weir is arguably one of the best midfielders in women's football, but I think, Pat, you mentioned it earlier, I thought Kirsty Hansen was outstanding tonight. But yeah, I think Vicky touched on it as well. Relief is probably how this team should be feeling at the minute.
Is it relief because Sarina Wiegman, Millie Bright, Rachel Daly, they've all been talking about burnout, the quick turnaround from the World Cup? Some players are in pre-season, some players have been playing Champions League qualifiers. The WSL season hasn't started. There were moments with Millie Bright, and remember, she hasn't been playing regular football since spring of this year.
Yeah, it's tough. Just one kind of overriding theme that I noticed over the course of the game was that we're really struggling to play through the midfield. I think, Pat, you mentioned it a few times as well. It was really dominated by a lot of, play in the wide areas, at times looking for those side diamonds and those types of overloads. But then it just became really direct because we could see that we weren't being able to go through the midfield. And specifically what Kira Walsh does so well is getting in tight spaces, receiving the ball either with a back foot and looking to play forward. She turns in those tight spaces. She's brave, and we just didn't see a lot of that from the England midfield tonight.
One of the big things about the transition phase that women's football in general has gone through just now, one of the big complaints was we don't get enough games. Not enough A, games, period, or B, games that actually test you. And that was a real problem for a long time, particularly the leagues being smaller size, etc. This is changing now. And you're getting bigger competitions, longer competitions, more games, and that's a different way that you have to prepare your body for it. And by the way, you don't just, click your fingers and it happens. You have to learn it, and you have to go through that. But it's imperative that the players do, because this game isn't going to get any smaller. It's going to get bigger, there's going to get more games, it's going to get more competitive, and the players on all the sides are going to get better as well. And that's just the way it is, so you're going to have to learn ways around it. The thing that England have got in their favour just now is strength and depth. And you're going to have to use that, and you're going to have to use it well. They used it well enough tonight. Just
is the correct word, because we saw, Karen, in the World Cup with England, we saw a different side to England because the challenges that they were facing, and Vicky mentioned it in commentary, it is questioning the best side that Sarina Wiegman has, and it's like as if she still doesn't know what that answer is.
No, I think you're spot on, and as well, I mean, there's so many different players in different stages of their career as well. I mean, I feel like you've got this kind of like middle pack that are all about the same, and it's about understanding what else they're going to get out of them. You know what I mean? Who's best suited for what position, what role, and we are, as Pat alluded to as well, in a transitional moment, not only within the game itself, but particularly with England, obviously having the likes of Ellen White retiring, the likes of Jill Scott, you've got Leah Williamson, arguably one of their best passes of the ball, alongside Alex Greenwood missing, so that progressiveness isn't quite there either. But it's, there's an element of a new mentality that I've seen in terms of another level of belief, but this also like grittiness, this resilience, this adaptability that we knew was kind of under there in terms of, it was always there when I was playing, but now it's compounded by several other elements. But yeah, in terms of a cohesive performance from the entire group, I think Pat mentioned it. We hadn't seen it. This is very similar to what we saw in the World Cup.
Yeah, it sounds like, bitter Scotsman, but it's not. When you watched England during the World Cup, once removed, because there's a lot of excitement around it, there were a good number of games you think, right, yeah, give us more, show us more. So you've got real quality and talent there, but they found the resilience you're talking about, and that became the celebrated thing. But that's not how you win trophies, really. And especially if you've got a Spain, and then you start getting more teams that have got good technical ability about you. So, England have stepped on and stepped up over the last number of years. They really have. You need to step up again. You need to keep on doing it. And because the Americans found out, see if you stay static, everyone will catch you. And that's what's happening. And that is exactly what football is. The way it should be at the top level. And I sound quite happy just now, and I am, because I see the steps that Scotland are making are gigantic at the moment. They are joyous. And the one thing I'd love to mention all the Scottish players, a lot of heroes out there tonight. But can I say one big thing about them tonight? See that passion that you need if you're going to play for Scotland, because we were underdogs in a lot of the games. I've seen it from every single player in that team tonight. It was brilliant to see.
Pedro Martinez Loza, he'll be the happy of the two, won't he?
I don't know, you never like getting beat.
Vicky's nodding her head right in the distance, but he will be the happier of the two.
I think overall, in terms of the performance, I completely take Pat's point that, if you win, you win, and I think Serena Wiegmann will be pleased with that, obviously, that they have won, particularly given that Belgium beat the Netherlands. But yeah, he will be pleased with it.